Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to DTM eSports 2024. It's the Pro Series. It's time for Shootout number 2. My name's Luke Crane. I'll be one of your commentators for today, and I'm joined by my very good friend, Connery Maddock. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing absolutely fine. We're going to get our Shootout 2 underway here in just a couple of moments' time. I can't wait for it. Of course, we are heading to Zandvoort for this second opportunity for drivers to get themselves qualified into that DTM eSports series.
100%. Last time out, we were at the circuit of Oschersleben. I probably butchered that pronunciation, that's for sure. Where we had 64 drivers. I think it was 62 in the end. We whittled them down to 16 drivers. So how it's going to work today is we have 2 heats where we will have potentially 32 drivers. The top 6 from each of those races will go through to our main championship, which is 6 rounds. And then we will have a last chance qualifier heat number 3 race as well at the end. That is between 7th and 22nd position in both our heats. They go through to our last chance qualifier to get our final 4 spots. So, Connery, if you want to get it done, you need to get it done in the first couple of races. You don't really want to be in that last chance qualifier, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most comfy spot to be in. You know, it's the path of least resistance, shall we say, getting it done in the early stages. You don't want all of that pressure going into the final race where you know a lot of people are going to be aggressive because they know what's on the line. This is the last chance to get yourself qualified into the DTM eSports Pro Championship. That is the long and short of it, Luke. So there's there's going to be a lot of nerves out there today.
Yeah, 100% could not agree with you more. There will be a few nerves, and there are also lots of new names to RaceRoom, I would say. There's not new names to you watching at home in the esports world, but yeah, to RaceRoom. So today's field is absolutely stacked. But let's check out then the calendar for 2024. Oschersleben, done, dusted, off you go. Shootout 2, Zandvoort. We're in the Dutch land today, home of Mr. Max Verstappen, and 4 of his drivers will be taking part today. Then we head to the Norisring, which will be round 1 official, which is not until March. We've got like a month off. But the Norisring to kick things off, that's going to be bananas. Then we head to the Nürburgring. Lots of rings, by the way, in round number 2. That's also going to be in March. The 22nd of March, then a triple header in March. We have the Lausitzring. Then we head to the Sachsenring. Then we head to Red Bull Ring. And then the finale, which will be on the 19th of April, will be the Hockenheimring. But let's talk about the schedule today then. So I just touched on it briefly as to exactly what is going to go down. But we have indeed, we've done the stream start. It's happening right now. We have a quali and then a race. So that is heat number 1. So qualification will begin very shortly. Then we will have a race. It's going to be 20 minutes long. And if you're in the top 6, you will advance through to the main championship, which again happens in a month's time. You're done for the day. Then we have heat number 2. Again, finish in the top 6. Make yourself through or get yourself safe passage through to the next stages of the competition. And then we have heat 3. Last chance qualifier race. Top 4 will go through. And the positions from 7th to 22nd of Heat 1 and 2 will make up your grid for that. They will have a qualifying session and a 20-minute timed race. Right, this is the part of the show where we look at standings, but it's shootout season. So let's check out entry list number 1 today. So this is going to be your first race today. Sorry. It's qualified drivers we're looking at, not entry list. We'll look at them in a minute. Qualified drivers from our first round: Moritz Lohner, Jack Keithley, Tim Yarshall, Emre Cihan, Bent Spanky, Erhan Yayovsky, Lucas Muller, Marco Pajic, Gianmarco Fiducci, Marcel Shinshik. We've then got Isaac Price, Isaac Gillison, Leonard Krippner, Ulas Azildarim, Florian Hassa, and Michael Romanidis. Connery, that is some list, and that's only 50% of our grid.
Yeah, absolutely, and considering the stats grid that we have here today as well, the additional drivers that will come from this shootout as well will just be adding to what is already a star-studded list for our DTM eSports Pro Championship here in 2024. I certainly can't wait to see these drivers do battle against each other. It's going to be a really, really fun season once we get to it.
Yeah, well, I did just mention it. Let's talk about entry list then for race number 1. So we've got Nikodem Wisniewski. It's privateer there. He races for a team. Maybe I'm not allowed to mention it. Enzo Benito for Team Redline. Christopher Hugveld is here as well. Alessandro Ottaviani, Luciano Whitford, Yuri Toman for R8G. Luke Bennett, it says privateer here, but he's a Redline driver. Julian Kunze for NeedRacing.com. Ilya Drovozikov I'm going to struggle with that name for a second week in a row then. For Gladius Competitions, we've then got Remy Delorme, who is a privateer, Axel Vermeulen, who is another privateer. I'm sure they do represent someone. Manu Rodriguez, I love a bit of Manu. TDG Racing Team, Christian Michael for needracing.com. We saw him last time out, as we did with Colin Blankenberg. We then have Gergo Boldy. We have Jarno Opmir. You may have heard of him. Enzo Filipao, Marcos Riffel. We've got Marvin Mackenberg. We have his no, it looks like there's only one Mackenberg here today. We've got Vil Craivi, Mark Veit, then got Matteo Catalan, we have Daniel Stremea, we have Daniel Burker, we have Lucas Reduto, Jan Sali, Tizanio Raimondi, that's some name by the way, Roland Sen, Dirk Gretschel, Timon Grassaman, Alvaro Vicente, and Marius Zabdir. Connery, who sticks out on that list for you of that unbelievable grid?
I think everyone kind of has to say Jarno Opmir, right? we can't exactly ignore such a massive name on this entry list. It'll be interesting to see how he does going up against some of the RaceRoom sort of contingent that usually turns up to these sorts of esports events. I have absolutely no doubts that he will be up there and fighting. It's just a matter of how close it's going to be with some of the others.
I tell you what, I've just had the bad news that Drafozikov, who I've been practicing his name all week, has unfortunately not taken part tonight. So must have heard me saying his name last week and gone, I ain't going through that again. My family are going to disown me. Someone can't say my name properly. So yeah, we're not going to see. No, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We're not going to see him. Right. Let's head then into qualification for the race, the first race. We might still be in practice actually, but yeah, let's go and check out some actual racing action for you right about now. There we go. So we've still got 6 minutes left here at Zandvoort. Maybe we do a little, maybe we'll have a little look here at a Moritz Lohner track guide. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump straight into it.
Hey everyone, it's Moritz Lohner from Maus, and yeah, it's time for the second shootout. The leaderboard is online right now for the DTM eSports qualification. This time on Zandvoort, I will show you around on a lap on Zandvoort with the lines, gears and everything, how you have to drive. And hopefully with the help of that, you will qualify for the shootout race where you can qualify for the main season. Let's jump in. Alright, we are starting the lap here on Zandvoort in the last two corners. We are in the BMW M4 GT3, my favorite of the GT3s. Yeah, TC setting, I like to go on TC5. It's a bit more aggressive in the BMW, but helps with rotation out of the corners and also speed out of the corners. Yeah, approaching turn 1, you brake on the white line basically. Try to stay on the inside for a long time or do a late cutback, both work. Then yeah, ease it into this right hand corner, then stay more or less on the left hand side and don't do a double apex here. You stay on the white line, close to the curb as possible, and accelerate out. Don't try to do any V-shaped corner or double apex. Just stay on the inside. You'll have the most grip on the inside, definitely. And here, downshift to third. Also here, stay on the white line for as long as you can until you, throttle out. Then go to the left, over the curb on the right. It helps with rotation if you hit the curb. And then you have to really ease it in on the brakes into this right-hand corner. Easy on throttle as well to not overdo it. To the middle of the track and back towards the apex. You can do more or less a late cutback for a good exit onto the back straight, more or less. It's a short back straight, but yeah, try to take as much speed as possible. You brake when the curb starts on the left, a little bit of the curb on the right. On the rear lap, you can take a little bit more of the curb on the right, same as on the left. The curbs help you rotate. Penultimate corner, down to third. Also take the curb here, helps with rotation. Little bit of a lift for the last corner, and then full throttle out onto the main straight and hope for a good lap time. What's it gonna be? It's 37.1 with my first try. You have to do 35s, I think, to qualify. At least that's what the good guys are doing right now on top of the leaderboard. So yeah, that's basically where you have to find yourself, I think, to qualify for the shootout. I hope this helped you a little bit to find the lines, to find your way around Zandvoort. Definitely tell me what lap times you did, if you can qualify, or if you even beat my lap time, 37.1. Yeah, hope to see you around. Bye-bye.
Well, nice to see a driver that's already qualified through to our main championship, and of course a previous DTM champion, DTM eSports champion, and raced in the DTM trophy, putting us through a lap there. But I do love the fact, Connery, that he wasn't very happy with his lap time, and he managed to put some sort of excuse there. Oh, it's my first time. Straight away, even before he was thinking about the time, he's like, oh, what can I say as an excuse?
Well, you know racing drivers and their excuses, right? There's an excuse for absolutely everything, and Moritz definitely shows us that he is really a true racing driver. But we do still have the very end of practice going on out there for our first heat. Here's Ville Krevi, the Finnish driver in that Audi, coming towards the back end of the lap now. He's going to be one of those that's up there and fighting, I get the feeling. He's shown some good performances over the past year or so here on RaceRoom, so he's going to be one of those that's maybe challenging for the bottom end of the top 6, I think, if he's able to put in a good qualifying time in particular. That's where I expect to see him, so he might be one of those that only just gets himself in.
Yeah, 35.6 is what we're going to be looking at for qualifying, I think. Nikodem Wisniewski posting that time. He is rapid. Nikodem is just quick at anything that he puts his mind to. Didn't he dislocate his hand or something last year in an event and then still participated and actually ended up winning a race? Like, yeah. That's some commitment as we're on board then with Julian Kunze, expecting to see a big showing from Kunze today. But yeah, today it is all about qualifying in my mind. If you don't get a good qualifying that time, you could find yourself in a little bit of trouble.
Well, look at this, because we had Oschersleben in Shootout 1, which is absolutely notorious for being a really poor overtaking circuit. Zandvoort isn't as bad as that. So, yes, qualifying is still going to be absolutely important, especially with the gaps being as close as they are, yes. But your fate isn't sealed when it comes to the race here today, unlike what we had a couple of weeks ago at Oschersleben. There is the opportunity to try and make your way forward in this circuit.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be difficult. I think qualifying has to be everything. And I was actually speaking to Moritz earlier on, and he made a very good point. We are using, obviously, the DTM calendar. So it makes sense to use the tracks that are going to be sort of maybe less overtakes for the shootout as opposed to the real season. Because in the real season, it's going to be, well, you've got a Norisring to kick things off, which is going to be absolutely bananas, as I said earlier. I'm not really sure what to expect from that circuit. So yeah, I think when the season comes, you're going to be golden. But yeah, qualifying for me is going to be everything. Nikodem Wisniewski, who looks very quick right now, 40 seconds left on the clock in the Audi. Currently, the fastest time there, was it 35.6. You've then got the Frenchman in second spot. You've got Mitchell in third. And then we've got another 2 Frenchmen in the top 4 right now. And then we've got a hometown hero, Jarno Opmeer. Is there the possibility of getting Jarno Opmeer through at this stage of the competition on home soil?
Well, there's always a chance. There's always a chance when you have someone of that star power, shall we say that. A decent time in practice here at the moment as well. Not that close to the baseline that Wisniewski set, going fastest in practice here at the moment, but I get the feeling there's a tiny bit of sandbagging going on before we get ourselves to the actual qualifying session here, which we'll just be switching over to. So I expect those gaps to tighten up once we get into qualifying proper.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you on that one. So we're about to go into qualification. There we go. You'll see all the cars just then magically disappear. And then we are off and ready to rock and indeed roll. And while we are getting into this, where are we watching from around the world then, guys? I'm just going to quickly open up the YouTube channel for DTM. I'm watching on my channel as well. So let me know where you're watching from around the world. Let me know who you may be supporting. Right, let me just whack open DTM. And then we are good to go. There we go. I've got it open. Lovely old job. Oh. We are good to go. So, who's watching then? I want milk. We're not quite qualifying yet. We're just about to head into qualifying. We're ready to rock and roll. Connery, predictions. Who's going to get pole on qualifying today?
I mean, Wisniewski looked very, very strong in practice there, but there's multiple names that could get it. I mean, Luke Bennett, of course, he could pull a lap out of the bag on occasion. Of course, we have Opmeer as well. I'm not really going to commit to any one particular driver as far as pole position is concerned, but I guess it will be potentially one of those 3, I would have thought.
Yeah, and I just think that there are a few drivers that are used to one-shot qualifying, and that is going to favour them massively. We saw it happen last week, and I think we might see that once again. So expect to see those names at the sharp end of the grid. So, yep, not sure we're on board with here. We're on board with Luke Bennett. So let's go on a lap then with Luke Bennett. He heads then through the carousel. Now we're heading up to what is a completely flat-out part of the circuit, all the way down to a drifting right-hander. Again, switching the car left, using some curb there on the inside. And taking the shortest route you possibly can. Now switching it down the hill before we see the windmill. See the windmill, the wind turbine. Track opens up nicely here to the left, so you get a nice run through the right-hand side. And then this is probably one of the tougher corners on the circuit, because not only have you got to get through here with the maximum speed, but you've got to set yourself up for another very slow corner coming up. Double apex left-hander. Moving in towards the apex mid corner, and now we run down towards the final chicane, heading over this blind crest. On the brakes, as Moritz said, just as the curve appears on the left-hand side, grabbing a load of curb on entry and indeed on exit, and that looks smooth as butter. Heading round towards that final couple of corners we will come, and you can use the track's camber to your advantage here. It is not the current layout, it's the old layout that we're using. As you can see, there's no oval banking around the final corner. But as we come up towards the start-finish line, what sort of time are we looking at? And it is a 35.8, so I think that might be a couple of tenths off where he needs to be. But as it stands, he is only 900ths behind Wisniewski. But look who's between them, Connery. It's that pesky Yuri Toman.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not a surprise that he's got himself stuck in there at the very top of the order as he heads his way through to start another flying lap here. That's the benefit of the lone qualifying here, Luke, is that you can immediately take the toe, as we call it in sim racing, and get yourself back into that position to do a quick run-up and a short run to try and start your next flying lap, so you're not having to do in-laps and out-laps constantly. So these guys will be very thankful for that. It makes them able to use the maximum time that we have available here in qualifying to get as many flying laps as possible, as we see Enzo Benito go to provisional pole position.
Yeah, well, you know, the red line drivers may have a little bit of an advantage because they've got the current DTM champion as a teammate. So if there's any tricks of the trade they want to learn on RaceRoom, they can just go onto the horn and get Kevin Siggy's up on WhatsApp and go, right, talk to me. Tell me what we need to do here to get better. Enzo Benito, as if by magic, goes and puts it on provisional pole. We know that Wisniewski's got a little bit more in the tank, maybe 100th of a second of what we see from Enzo Benito, but that is a very competitive time indeed, and I think Benito will be very comfortably in that top 6. I think the drivers that are maybe under a little bit of pressure are probably Ottaviani and downwards from there. So 5th downwards. I think the top 4 might be okay here.
Yeah, I think so too, unless there's massive changes here inside the final 6 minutes of qualifying. I think those are relatively secure. Of course, they're going to keep going out there. They're going to keep bashing laps in because there's really no downside to it. It's not like you have a tire limit or you're starting on the tires that you qualify with here. It's not in that situation. Go on.
Yuri Toman just got up to 2nd spot then, so he's now 16 thousandths of a second off of Enzo Benito. Hugveld has just moved up into 5th spot, so Ottaviani has dropped down. He's into that 6th spot now. There we go, seeing a little bit of a slide there in the AMG. But yeah, a bit of pressure then for the Italian.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 16 thousandths of a second ahead of Yuri Toman at the moment, which is not a comfortable margin at all for pole position. Here's Nikodem Wisniewski heading his way out the final corner. This is not a timed lap for him, I don't think, so he's going to start another flying lap as he heads his way across. Here is the Polish driver, but it's very, very tight at the top of the order. It's less than a tenth of a second, less than 3/4 of a tenth of a second that separate the top 3 cars at the moment.
Yeah, not a lot between them at all here. This is closer than what we saw, and I tell you what, it's even quicker. Enzo Benito with a 35.5, and he's not really a RaceRoom specialist, ladies and gentlemen. He is a sim racing specialist, but RaceRoom maybe not so much. Right now, he is showcasing an unbelievable skill set that would probably challenge not only for today, but maybe for the championship kind of pace.
Bennett's purple through Sector 1 there, so this looks like a pretty hot lap for the Brits. behind the wheel of the Audi. Let's see what the Sector 2 time will end up being, because if that's green or even purple, then we know he's on for a good lap. It is not either of those two. It's about a tenth of a second slower than his best attempt through that second sector. But we'll see how he ties it up here in the third sector to see where he's going to be at.
Yeah, he just had a little slide there out of the the wind turbine corner, running up towards the chicane, which is something that he absolutely nailed on the previous lap. But right now he's only just about a tenth off the pace, so he could improve on his time because his previous time was 2/10 off. As we go across the line, does he improve? Luke Bennett does improve, but it's only 0.08 of a second. So he's quicker, doesn't gain any positions. 0.08 of a second.
Close indeed, and here's Yuri Toman. Again, this is not going to be a lap that counts, or rather this is the end of his out lap. So across the line he comes and gets that started. Here's Nikodem Wisniewski here as well. Let's see what his situation is, and again, this is not a timed attempt for Wisniewski, so I get the feeling that these drivers are sort of winding up for some of their final attempts here. We'll have a little bit of a look further down the order. There's Ottaviani. He sits at the moment for the Italian, and he is on the start of a timed lap.
Yeah, he absolutely is here, heading then up towards the snaky S's. It's flat out now all the way across these sand dunes. They just happened to put a track in the middle of it. I will say one thing, Ottaviani is, I think, golden here. Although he's got Gogo Boldi behind him, Gogo Boldi, who is, fresh off of winning Ferrari eSports not very long ago. A very, very good driver indeed. Now we're heading... Well, no, it's done.
Abandoned.
So 2 minutes, 50 seconds still on. They've still got plenty of time. So in this qualifying format, ladies and gentlemen, they start with a corner to go. So effectively, they get onto a flying lap pretty quickly. So yeah, with 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go, as long as you've got, I think, 2 minutes, you're good to get one more lap time in. So if you make a mistake in the first sector, you've probably got a good chance to reset. And the tyres will be in good nick at the best. The tyres are actually at their best possible early, as Nikodem Wisniewski has a little bit of a slide, similar to Bennett. Bennett's wasn't as pronounced as we now are on board with Bennett. Well, that one was a little bit more slidey, that's for sure. And it's literally at the corner where you start. So that might be qualifying over for him. He might give it one more blast. I think he's golden here. Remember, top 6 from this race qualify through to the next stages. So if you're in the top 4, you don't make a mistake, I think you're in a pretty good position. One driver who's in an unbelievable position, it is Enzo Benito, and I'd say probably Yuri Toman as well. Those two look absolutely incredible. Yuri Toman has gone purple.
He has. So this is a very good attempt here from Toman to try and steal that pole position away from Enzo Benito. Looking very, very good. Just needs to have a very tidy Sector 3, these final couple of corners with the run to the line, and he might just have a chance of stealing it away.
He might do. Around the final corner he comes in, purple. And it's all about what you've done in the final sector. It looked tidy. Across the line we are going to go. It will take a couple of seconds in this. Well, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? A 35.529 by 2/100ths of a second. Yuri Toman has taken the advantage away from Enzo Benito. And I was told that there's going to be a lot of Mercedes in this and that there might be a bit of a secret in terms of the Audi's pace. It looks like the cat is out the bag because the Audis look very good indeed.
Indeed, top 4 are Audis. Boldi is the highest placed non-Audi, and the Ferrari in 5th place. And then it's another Audi at Högfeld. Vermeulen is the top placed BMW here at the moment. And then we got a gaggle of Mercedes behind him as well. Here comes Enzo Benito. Looks like he's going to try and respond here after the pole position setting time from Toman. Benito, will he have time to get this in before the end of the session? Well, with a Sector 2 like that, it might not even matter.
No, it doesn't matter. He's done and dusted, so it looks like he's going to start on the second position. Yeah, there we go. So qualifying done and dusted then for Enzo Benito. We've got 28 seconds left on the clock. We're on board then with Luke Bennett. Does Luke Bennett find any extra time? And as he crosses the line, doesn't look like he's improved. No, he is not improved at all. But Gogo Boldi has come up from P7 up to P5, and it is the only Ferrari in the top 6. It is covered with Audis. So really good stuff there from Boldi. But here is your official then result in this qualifying session. Yuri Toman is P1. You've got Enzo Benito, Wisniewski, and Bennett on the 2nd row. Boldi and Högfeld are on your 3rd row. Vermeulen and Ottaviani on your 4th row. Then we've got Delorme and Philippau on your 5th row. Rodriguez and Whitver are on your 6th row. We've then got Mitchell and Kunze, an all-German 7th row. Jarno Opmeer on home soil with Veit in your top 16. We've then got Mackenberg and Craigie, Vicente and Zabdir. We've then got Stromea and Burka Sen and Catalan, Sali and Raimondi. And then we have got Grasserman and Gretschel. Dirk Gretschel was racing last time out as well. Remember, if they do not get top 6, they have to get between 7th and 22nd for them to get themselves a last chance qualifier race position. Exciting times, Connery. Exciting times.
It really is. It really, really is. With a qualifying as tight as that one, I think that has set the stage very, very nicely for a very interesting race. I certainly can't wait to get it going here as we see drivers, they're going to be getting themselves into their initial sort of warm-up situation here in just a couple of moments. There we go, as we switch on that session. And, well, they get 60 seconds to calm their nerves before they start gridding for the first race of the evening here, Luke. And, well, for 6 of them, it will be one and done. Just the one race, and, well, they've gotten themselves through to the next stage. But for a good majority of these guys, they'll have to be racing again in race 3 for those final 4 spots to get themselves involved in the series.
Why are they going out? I have no idea why they're going out. You've got 60 seconds of a warm-up here. I just don't get it. Is there some benefit to this? I don't know. Maybe it is sim racing after all. Who knows? There's probably some benefit. But yeah, them all coming out there makes 0 sense. Just seeing absolute carnage. But yeah, Enzo Benito, Yuri Toman, they've been battling for the last 12 months, doing their thing. And now they head over to RaceRoom and they're doing exactly the same thing again. The top 6 are an incredibly strong top 6, should I say. And this should prove very tough for anyone outside that top 6 to crack.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But again, we can conjecture all we like for this race here, but we're never going to know exactly what's going to happen until the drop of the green flag. And these guys charge their way down in towards Tarzanbock for the first time, and we'll see what happens then. But it's not too long now until we get to experience just that.
No formation lap time, so they've now got another 60 seconds to get themselves on the grid. Get your predictions on YouTube, get your predictions on Twitch as well. Let me know who you think is going to do well in this race and maybe who you want to do well in this race. Remember, this is just the shootout sessions of the DTM eSports. We've then got a month break and then we head into the official season in March and April. There's going to be 6 rounds in total in April and indeed March. But this is to find our final 16 spots. We've already got 16 in. Now it's time to find our final 16. This is Heat 1. Top 6 from this race will advance through to the Major Championship. They're in. Then we've got Heat 2, top 6 again, and 7th to 22nd will go to the last chance qualifier of both heats. But we've got 5 red lights here. We're at Zandvoort. It's Shootout 2 time. It's Heat 1. Yuri Toman, Enzo Benito on the front row. And we are off and running, baby. As the 3 Audis completely take this start by storm. Some side-by-side action. I think Nikodem Wisniewski might have jumped Enzo Benito here. And I think Gogo Boldy might have jumped Luke Bennett as well. Yep, Luke Bennett's going to drop down 1 position. And there's almost a bit of contact between the 2 of them there. Boldy was nearly in a bit of trouble. We head then up towards the carousel for the very first time. Oh, Bennett's been spun in the background.
What's Fiani?
Well, there's an AMG, it's a car park. I'm not too sure what's going on here. Who is that? Is that Kunze? I think Kunze and Bennett are both facing the wrong way. And ultimately, that is their chances of going through as the top 6 down Augusta.
Yeah, it was Ottaviani involved in that. Falling down the order, big instant through the first sector on the first lap here. Very, very unfortunate for such strong drivers to be affected by issues this early on. It does mean the top 6 are now Toman, Wisniewski, Benito, Boldy, Hergveld, and Michael. So Christian Michael up inside the top 6 now, being pressured actually quite closely by that red BMW of Axel Vermeulen.
Well, no, Axel Vermeulen just lost position. He was comfortably in the top 6. Mitchell sent one up the inside. And well, the rest is history. So now they are going to battle for that top 6. A little bit of a fake move there made by the BMW, ultimately not going to work out. And Mitchell has caught him napping here and said, well, thank you very much. I'm off into the distance. I'll have that top 6. Thank you very much. Axel not able to respond. Top 5, though. We've got Toman, Wisniewski, we've got Benito, we've got Boldy and Hookveld. They are comfortably off into the distance.
Yeah, they've really stretched their legs, even at this very early stage, coming up across the line to complete lap number 1 here. It's a timed event, of course, just 20 minutes to get ourselves sorted here. There's no mandatory pit stops either, so it's a straight shoot fight until the very end of the race, pushing 110%. Well, we've seen the results of it so far. The 2 drivers out. Two drivers completely out. DNF. Ottaviani still is running, shall we say, but of course we'll have quite considerable damage on that car after nosing it into the barrier.
Well, I was thinking, you know what, at least they get a chance to do the last chance qualifier, but they don't, do they? They're not in the top 22. So right now, Bennett is out. He is out of this completely. Someone who qualified in the top 6, one of the favourites, not making it through to the next stage. As it stands, though, top 5 are comfortably in sort of, grabbing hold of that spot range, and you've got the battle for that P6, so it looks like it's starting to close up. Manu Rodri now getting involved as well, has been a participant in our finals in a couple of the last DTM eSports championships. So it'd be nice to see him maybe make his way through. And he's one of those where qualifying isn't his strong suit. Obviously, he's an exceptional qualifier, but compared to the rest of the field, maybe qualifying isn't his best. But Manu Rodriguez has one of the best sets of racecraft or race pace out there, especially on RaceRoom. So expect him to make moves.
Yeah, he's up 3 positions on the day already. Looking for more. In terms of positions up on the day, it's a 3-way tie for the top mover, and that is Christian Michael. So he's up 7 spots from where he started. He's up into 6th there, which is of course our final qualification spot into the series. So he's had an absolute monster of a start there. Marius Zabda's also up 7 spots. Ronald Sen also up 7, and I'll say it's a 4-way tie for top mover because we've got Timon Grossman, who's also up 7 spots from where he started as well. So a lot of drivers benefiting off of the first sector chaos.
Yeah, 100%. It's basically a car park, so anyone who managed to go through on the inside would have gained a fair chunk of spots. So yeah, fortune favours the brave. I know there's a yellow flag there, but sim racing, I'm sure there's people ignoring that and they're just driving on through. So yeah, if you've taken advantage of that, then fair play to you. But as it stands, Yuri Toman, 4/10 clear of Wisniewski. Enzo Benito is in 3rd. Those 3 don't have to worry about anything right now. They don't have to try and push or anything like that. Top 6. P6 is the same as P1, realistically. Just get yourself through to the next stage of the championship. We've then got Gogo Boldi, who again looks very comfortable. He's in that Ferrari. Always nice to see a different manufacturer at the sharp end when it's very clear that the bot favours the Audi. We've then got Hookveld in 5th position as it stands in an Audi. And then it's the AMG of Michael, as you said. An incredible start for him, gaining many, many positions. We go a bit further back then. And this is the battle for the 22nd spot. As we see, there is a bonnet missing from Ottaviani. So Ottaviani is currently ahead of everybody in this group of 3s. We see an absolute send up the inside. That's not going to work out there. So Raimondi is just about going to hang on. But as you can see, they are all desperate to get into that top 22.
They are. Couldn't say with the hopeful move, but he goes from offense to defense now as Jan Sahel is behind him, the Swiss driver in the Mercedes, try and bear down on them. And like you said, this is an important fight here because Ottaviani's run wide and gives up 21st place to Raimondi on the way down in towards turn 1.
Yeah, Raimondi says thank you very much, and that is a very sick-looking AMG, and I'm not meaning down with a kid sick, I'm meaning it's not very well. It's got some big damage to that car, as you can see right now. There's a lot missing. It's lighter, so it should be quite quick in a straight line. By lighter, I mean maybe half a car lighter. So not ideal.
Yeah, absolutely not. And, well, he's going to be really, really struggling. The balance of that car will be completely off. It'll be down in a straight line as well due to the aero damage. And, yeah, it's not a great time if you're Ottaviani at the moment. It was a big incident through Sector 1 on lap 1, but now he's going to get mugged coming off the corner here. And Kunze is going to send it down the inside. And so I expect him to be the overtake. In fact, he has already.
Yeah, he has done there. And, yeah, I just think Ottaviani at this point is just hopeful that people make mistakes in front of him and realising that it's going to cost him a lot of time if he does indeed go to the pits. So it's just a case of trying and hang in there. And unfortunately for the Italian, he's dropped out of that top 22 now. The last chance qualifier is looking a bare grasp away. Not ideal. Back up to the front though. 0.4 of a second separating our front 2. Enzo's actually dropped about a second behind. I'm thinking that's maybe calculated if he doesn't have to be worried about the 2 in front. He's also got a nice gap behind. You know, the top 6 is exactly the same P6 as it is P1. You get yourself a top 3. It doesn't matter. You're just getting yourself through to the next stage of the competition. Right now, he's in the perfect spot. You know, right now, if Wisniewski was to, you know, get involved in something that Toman does, like he makes a mistake, gets the car sideways, you know, it could end up costing him a top 6, whereas Enzo's got time to kind of react to that. I'm sure Enzo would like to be right up behind them. I'm not sure this is the worst position to be in right now. Boldy, again, about 2 seconds behind Benito. Hoogveld, a couple of tenths back behind Boldy. Mitchell is about 4 tenths behind Hoogveld. And then you've got Vermeulen, who is currently in 7th position and looking to try and get back involved in this, only 4 tenths further back. And with 12 minutes 30 seconds, he's going to have to start getting his bum in gear.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and dig deep here because, I mean, remaining, what, 4 to 5 tenths of a second behind Mikel at the moment is not going to cut it. He just needs to be that little bit closer to try and threaten the overtake, because all you need to do sometimes is threaten the overtake, and then sometimes the driver ahead of you makes a mistake and you end up going through. It's just playing the psychological game like that, but you have to be close enough to be able to play those games, and that's the task that Vermeulen needs to complete here at the moment. The benefit for him is that he himself is not being pressured from behind, really, because it's about 9 tenths of a second back to Rodriguez. So, you know, there's nothing to worry about behind.
Third time?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, poor Manu Rodriguez. We've both got a name that we're struggling to say now. Luckily, my one decided not to show up today, so that's good for me. But he's dropping a bit further back now. Unfortunately, he's behind Vermeulen. So that means Vermeulen gets an opportunity now to really attack, because he now knows he's not going to be attacked from behind. He's got a good second to work with. We see a fleet of AMGs in behind, by the way. That's a scary proposition to have in your rear view mirror, that's for certain. But Boldy, I think there might be an opportunity for him to make a move here, a little bit further up the road. Sorry, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Mikkel behind Hoogveld. Might be an opportunity for him to make a move here, get a bit of insurance, because he doesn't really want that BMW to creep up onto the back of him and start putting pressure on. And number 7 doesn't look like he's really doing a great job of in terms of pace.
Yeah, there's an intriguing dynamic back here, because yes, it is a 20-minute sprint race, so therefore you wouldn't really necessarily consider tyres to be an absolutely massive factor, but if you do take that little bit too much out of them, that might make all the difference when it comes to the final couple of laps of this race. Yes, I know it's 20 minutes. Yes, I know these GT3 cars' tyres can survive a lot longer than 20 minutes. But sometimes it is that edge and those tiny differences that make up the that either gain you or lose you positions at this sort of level. Maybe down at the lower levels, the semi-pro level, the level of race that me and you enter, Luke. It may not necessarily matter.
Semi-pro. We need to go lower.
I'm even lower as well, don't worry. But it might not necessarily matter, but for these guys, it's one of those things that they can just sort of leverage. That extra tenth of a second difference can be very important.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether, tyre wear's not that strong. Ultimately, the tyres are going to be worse off at the end of a 20-minute stint than they are at the start. They've used them. It is as simple as that. So if you can manage them a little bit better, I think tyre temperature is going to be the biggest one. Yeah. Don't keep scrubbing on entry into corners. Don't slide through the apexes of corners, and don't lay the power down too early on the exit and try and lay it down evenly, otherwise you're going to just light up the rears. So yeah, just making sure that you keep the tyres in a decent temperature range, probably the more viable thing here. But it's looking good for the front 4. They're kind of clear and off and they go. It's no big problem. But now, with the pace of Hoogveld, he's struggling, and this might present an opportunity not only for Mikkel to get a bit of insurance, but Vermeulen, who was looking at Mikkel as the opportunity or the ticket through to the next stages, they might now look both at that Audi and think we can both get past him, both go through.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit concerned about the Swede at the moment. He's, he's not come under active attack just yet, but those gaps are probably a little bit too close to be comfortable, especially when you're in a spot where potentially drop outside of the top 6 if the sequence of moves does not go your way. But it's certainly one to keep an eye on here. We had also an eye on the battle for P21, P22 sort of area, because that's the point where you get yourself a chance to go into the last qualifier. All those gaps have also spread out now as well, so there's not much going on back there. In terms of mid-pack, we've got some trains, we've got some battle packs going on, but not a lot of side-by-side action.
No, and again, it just goes to show how important qualifying is. Shout out to Luciano Wipfer and Jarno Opmeer, both Dutchies. They're currently in 9th and 10th position, so maybe an opportunity for them in the last chance qualifier race. I Want Milk just said, can we be repaired in the pits? Yes, you can get repaired, but even if it was to be an instant repair, you still have to do that travel through the pit, so it doesn't really make sense to do so. Ottaviani, by the way, is now a DNF. But it just makes more sense to stay out and just try and hang on because of the last chance qualifying situation. So right now we've got 3 drivers not making it through, and effectively 3 drivers aren't going to get through to the 3 drivers who are currently racing aren't also going to make it through to a last chance qualifier. So if you're not in the top 22, you're not between 7th and 22nd, you're not going to make it through to our final heat. If you're not in the top 6, you're not going to make it through to our championship. First time of asking.
Absolutely not. So that's what's on the line here for these guys. It's a very prestigious event, the DTM eSports Pro Championship. Of course, has been running for a couple of years in some form or another, and has produced some and highlighted some absolutely fantastic talents. Of course, you know, we had Moritz Lohner, who got the opportunity to drive in the DTM trophy, and did rather well in that particular series as well. So these guys, you know, hopeful that at some point this whole sim racing thing will potentially lead them to a real life drive, or some of them might consider the esports side of things to be a discipline and a career in and of itself, which is also a valid opinion.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more there. I'm quite an advocate for people who want to sim race because they want to sim race. It doesn't necessarily have to be the end goal that you want to go out there and race in real cars. So there are, you know, legitimately people out there that want to become the best sim racer in the world, and that is their end goal. Boring is not one of those. He wants to, of course, do both. We've got Kevin Siggy, who we're about to see in the next heat, who is our reigning champion, remember, in the DTM eSports. He obviously wants to go and race as well. We have Tim Heinemann, who's won the DTM eSports Championship a couple of times, albeit it was, you know, different names, championship back in the day. He ended up racing in DTM last year. So there are opportunities to go from this into the real stuff. What about taking those opportunities?
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, as we've seen over the last couple of years, esports, sim racing esports, as I call it, has taken on its new life as basically a sub-discipline of motorsports proper. I really think it should be treated that way, instead of not just a stepping stone into real cars, but sort of run in a more parallel fashion, shall we say, where drivers from, you know, sim racing can go to real world, but also the real world drivers can come to sim racing, and many have been very successful in doing that.
Yeah, I agree, but one thing I do disagree with is that any sim racing event should count towards a real racing championship, and any real racing championship should count towards a sim racing championship. I stand very firm on that belief. I think that they, I don't believe they should be the same thing. They're completely different disciplines. So you're talking about, getting into a real car or something. I like sim racing. There needs some special BOP for me to go in a real car. Yeah, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, I have had the opportunity to drive a high-powered sports car, I guess. You know, I drove a Porsche 911 once, and my word, those things are scary. Yeah, and it takes a special kind of person to wheel those around in a racing sense when you're in close quarters with, you know, tens of other cars. It's crazy to me.
I'd be great. I wouldn't be scared. I've got so much padding on my body. I wouldn't be scared at all. Fine. Enzo Benito, by the way, has caught up now to the back of Nikodem Wisniewski and also Yuri Toman. So I'm wondering if he has just, again, taken his time, and now he's just reaping the rewards of looking after those tyres a bit better than the two in front. The extra speed around this final corner, it is a case of just you have to dab onto the brakes or let off the accelerator, I think would be more appropriate. Maybe you get a run down towards turn number 1. We've got 3 minutes, 50 seconds left on the clock. I think that's enough time for 3 more laps remaining, including this one. Maybe we're going to see a change of position for the lead. I mentioned this last time out. Is it worth making a couple of overtakes at this stage of the race? You know, when you've got a big gap behind you, I think it probably is, because it sets down a marker for the rest of the championship. It's kind of letting, you know, Enzo Benito could let Nikodem Wisniewski go, look, if it comes down to it and we're going for the championship and I need to make an overtake on you, I absolutely am capable of doing so. And that will always be in the back of Nikodem's head. Right now, I think, you know, and Nikodem do exactly the same to Yuri Toman, so it's not exclusive to Enzo. Maybe we do see a little bit of fighting here and there, which would be quite cool.
It's one of those situations where your heart says something different to your brain when you're behind the wheel of those things, because your heart really wants to go for it. You want to channel your inner racing driver and go for that, one more step up the podium or even the race win. But your head says, okay, we don't need to do that. We've got a secure P3. We can just sit here behind these guys, and we're through to the next stage in the championship. That is really all that we're here for. But you are right, Luke, where there is a certain element of getting up in other drivers' faces, which can set the tone.
Yep. You can see all three of these drivers are in Kelvin van der Linde's Audi. A 5-time race winner in DTM is Kelvin van der Linde. That car is used to finishing across the line at the sharp end. He was battling for the championship nearly a couple of years ago, 2021. We head round the final couple of corners with this quartet of AMGs. Jarno Opmeer being in the middle of it. You've got Luciano Whitver, and then you've got Rodriguez just up ahead. Right now, I think if you're at the lead of this group, you've got to fancy your chances to be one of the stronger cars in terms of the last chance qualifier race coming up at the end of today's broadcast. So again, if you've just joined us, we have 3 races for you this evening. This is heat number 1. Go a bit further back on our grid. This is heat number 13. But yeah, we do indeed have ourselves 3 heats. They're all 20-minute long races, and they all have 10 minutes of qualifying. If you finish top 6 in heat 1 and heat 2, then you are through to the DTM eSports Pro Series. If you manage to finish between 7th and 22nd in either of the heat 1 or heat 2, you then go to our 32 driver grid for the final race of the day, which is the last chance qualifier, and the top 4 from that race will advance through to our series. So 16 spots are up for grabs. So we see a potential move from Enzo Benito, but no, he's going to slide out wide there. Door was closed as quickly as it opens, heading down towards that final chicane. Yuri Toman, sorry, Wisniewski is just in second spot. Yuri Toman looking absolutely golden there, half a second advantage then over the Polish driver Nikodem Wisniewski, and then you've got the Italian of Enzo Benito, currently in third. These 3 have looked very good indeed.
They have absolutely no problems whatsoever for these 3 at the front. I mean, you can include Hugo Boldi in this as well, but he's in a little bit of no man's land behind these guys. But yeah, no sweat at all for these folks at the front. Benito, don't think it's going to be close enough to make a move into 1. In fact, he's falling further behind here coming down the straight. So they're going to be starting the final lap now here, Luke, and should be a very, very calm affair at the very front. And we'll see if there's any action that picks up elsewhere. Of course, Christian Michael is currently on our last qualification spot there, still applying the pressure to the back of Högfeldt. So I think Högfeldt will have his hands full on this final lap, but I don't think any of them are coming under the threat of dropping outside the top 6 unless they get a bit too close to each other.
Yeah, if you're Högfeldt right now, you kind of want, if you're Michael right now, you want Högfeldt to be about half a second quicker a lap. So you don't have to be worried about him. You don't care about making an overtake right now. You just want that P6. The last thing you want is for that driver in front of you to make a little bit of a mistake and bring in Vermeulen, the Belgian, who is just ready to pounce like a panther a bit further back. Head then into the middle of the second sector here at Zandvoort. And then through the sweeping left-hander, and we're heading down towards that final chicane here in the Netherlands on the coast with the sand dunes. Yuri Toman, the Czech, about to get the checkered flag, and about to book his place into the Pro Series DTM eSports 2024 finals, main championship, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. He's just looked very quick indeed. 2 more corners to go for the Czech driver, 4/10 clear of Nikodem Wisniewski. And well, as easy as that, he has come over to RaceRoom and made it look like a walk in the park. Yuri Toman will take the checker flag and heat 1 race victory here. Nikodem Wisniewski will get second. Benito is in third, and none of those 3 were involved in anything really today, so I'm not sure the stewards are going to need to talk to them. We've then got, Gergo Boldi, who's managed to get himself a P4. Congratulations to him, the only Ferrari anywhere near the front. We've then got Högfeldt, who finishes in 5th. Michael does get 6th position, and we will not see him in the last chance qualifier race, but the first driver we will see will be Axel Vermeulen. So he finishes down in 7th position. We're seeing the battle here for the top 22. Raimondi looks like he's going to be in P20. Across the line for him. Kunze has moved up to 19th spot. We go a little bit further back. Then we've got the Swiss driver Sahi in 21st. And we've got the Spaniard of, I'm not too sure who. We've got P22. Vicente then. finishes in P22. So that is your last driver that will make it through to the last chance qualifier. So Alvaro Vicente manages to pick up the points there. So congratulations to those drivers. We're waiting to get the official results pop up on the screen. We can do an official classification, but yeah, very, very interesting indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a relatively safe affair for those guys at the very front here. We got Yuri Toman, of course, taking the race win. Wisniewski, Benito, Baldi, Högfeldt, Mikel. Those are your top 6 drivers. Those are the drivers that have got themselves a slot in the DTM eSports Pro Championship 2024. They do not need to take part in the final race of today. They can just go and take a break, you know, go and have some food or whatever they do this evening. They are completely done. Unless they want to come in for interviews.
I think Enzo's probably going to have some sort of bread-related food and a glass of red wine. He's good to go. Same as Yuri Toman, as well as Nikolai Wisniewski. Those 3 look very quick indeed. You head down all the way to P22 then. Vicente will be your last driver that qualifies for the last chance qualifier. So P7 all the way down to P22. So that is all of your drivers that get through. And Connery, that was good. It was very, very good. Again, Zandvoort not very well known for its overtaking, and I guess the biggest talking point was that race start in towards turn number 2, where one of our title protagonists, or 2 of them, I guess, Ottaviani and indeed Bennett, you'd expect them to be not only in the finals but maybe challenging for the whole championship. They both were involved in a big, big smash. It was a car park, and ultimately we're not going to see either of them in our main championship now.
Yeah, it's a big shame because they were very, very strong names. They were ones that, you know, qualified up in or near that top 6, and unfortunately, their chances ended before they even began in that situation, which is a big, big shame. Of course, you know, if you have terminal damage, there's not much you can do. You can just take the tow back to the pit lane, quit out the sim, that's it, done. I mean, Ottaviani did try and keep out there, did try and maintain position inside the top 22, but unfortunately, it wasn't to be. That car was, well, seemingly had better days, shall we say, and wasn't able to keep the pace of the rest of the pack. So he does drop out of contention, unfortunately. So 2 big names, very big names indeed, dropping out of the competition at this very early stage.
Which opens up opportunities for people elsewhere. They will not be in the last chance qualifier over being outside that top 22. But let's talk about the front 3. They were the stars of the show. We had Yuri Toman pick up the race victory. We had Nikodem Wisniewski pick up second. And Enzo Benito, who was about a second and a half off of those front 2 for quite a long time in that race, and then slowly just creeped up behind them. Those 3, you know, we look at last week, and Lucas Muller looked particularly good, and so did Moritz Lohner. All 3 of those looked very quick today.
Yeah, incredibly quick, and that's a positive sign now coming into the championship proper. Yes, we have, you know, over a month before we even get to that stage. So there's still going to be a lot of preparation to be done for all the drivers that have qualified already. Of course, they'll be looking forward to that first round at the Norisring, getting the practice done probably already at this stage to make sure that they have put themselves in the best spot possible to go challenging straight off the bat in that championship. Try and get those early points on the board, so then you have to worry a little bit less about catching up later. But, of course, we're not done with Shootout number 2. We have our heat, our second heat coming up, and we can have a little bit of a look at who's going to be joining us for this one.
Yeah, let's look at this heat then. So we have our current DTM eSports champion. It's Kevin Siggy. We then have Jeffrey Rietveld as well, obviously a Team Redline teammate for Kevin Siggy. We then have Jacob Brzezinski, who, we just saw Nikodem Wisniewski. Whenever Wisniewski's around, Brzezinski's around as well. Dominic Belaya in this one as well. We then got Leonard Carton, Leandro Verle, who is very much an iRacing driver, but has come across this for this one as well. We've got Can Kinchi, Leon Rudinger, Philip Dreys, Matthias Baldalf, Fadli Rashmat. He is, I've commentated on him many a time on ACC. We've got Mihai Neg. We've got Angel Inostroza, Uval Rosen, Victor Veloso. We have got Mergeli Martin, Adam Pinches, Stan Vliestra, Ralph Peringa, Timotei Andonovsky, Felipe Giuliato. We've then got Jonathan Riley, Nico Sunel, Christian Orban, Sven Mackenberg. So we had Marvin Mackenberg, now we've got Sven Mackenberg, Sebastian Ree. We then got Max Janssen, Ralph Arella, Lucas Liao, Khan Bekiroglu, then got Martin Klaassen and Melvin Brandt. That is some grid order there. That is some heat. I don't even want to say that. I thought that the Heat 1 was strong. That is ridiculous. And what I'm really liking about, as we're in qualifying already, by the way, what I'm liking about this, Connery, is, you know, we're seeing loads of different drivers from different sims come across the race room for one of their major, you know, title championships. It just goes to show how much of a pull the game has.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you have a series as big as DTM running these sorts of championships. That's a draw in and of itself, if you ask me. Of course, everyone wants to get involved when such a big name in motorsport is giving their support. But like you said, qualifying is underway. We're running on board with Jeffrey Rietveld, hometown hero. Well, at least the same country as as this circuit. So not sure how far away from Zandvoort Rietveld lives, but can't be that far considering how fantastic he is at this track on occasion. I've seen him wheel it around here before, and it seems like he just unlocks a bit of pace whenever he's here.
Yeah, Jeffrey is an anomaly in terms of his performance. Some weeks you'll just be looking at him thinking, oh, what's happened there with Jeffrey? And then other weeks, just unbeatable. It's one of those that seems to have a switch, and when he's on it, doesn't matter what game it's on, he's a very tough cookie to crack. We had a 5 take provisional pole last time out, and Rietveld's just gone to second spot because we've just seen the fastest time of the day, and it's Kevin Siggy, a 35.4. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, well, from your reigning champion, that is a stonking time. There he is, coming out of the final corner to start another flying lap here. What an impact, what a statement early on in this qualifying session to be able to go in and put a 35.4. That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that is some time. I find that very difficult to beat today. Jeffrey, by the way, has just put in a really good lap time himself. Dominic Blyer then currently in third position. Lovely old job. We then got Leandro Werle up into fourth position. I think Blyer and Verley's time might be under a bit of pressure for sure. Jacob Brzezinski then in fifth, and then we've got Rudinger in sixth spot. So that is your six positions right now. And it's about, what, a 35.9 is the cut-off. Those times are going to get beaten. I'm pretty certain of that.
Yeah, yeah, those times just inside the top five, yeah, absolutely. There's still a lot of shuffling to be going on here as drivers wind their way through and complete their second flying laps of the day. Here's Rudinger, who didn't like that lap at all, so he'll take the tow back to the starting point. Here's Jacob Brzezinski here as well, as he'll get himself a couple of green sectors, so a couple of improvements on his personal best here, Luke. So he's going to look to try and get himself inside the top five. Yeah,
you know, it'd be nice to get a bit of insurance again being up there. It's still early in this session. We're not even at the halfway point right now. But if you're seeing a 35.4 as the top time, you're thinking, oh, that's maybe not really hittable. Although it is Jacob Brzezinski. Who knows? He is one of the very best in the world of sim racing. Across the line he will go. Is there any improvement? Yes, up to P3. Up to P3 as Werle's improved again. He's up to P5. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, positive signs already for a couple of drivers working their way through. Here comes Jeffrey Rietveld again. This is going to be a start of the final lap, flying lap here. So still just over a tenth of a second behind Kevin Siggy here at the moment. That is a bit of a rift, actually, when you consider the grand scheme of things. Usually we have drivers within, a couple of drivers within the same tenth of a second, but to have a whole tenth of a second between Siggy and Rietveld, well, it's just gotten larger as well. Siggy's just made a better lap at 35.459. Wow.
That's just not fair to be that fast, is it, Kevin? I would say he'll have a smile on his face. He probably won't. He doesn't like smiling. It's not in his roadhouse, that. Siggy starts another lap time. Not sure he needs to bother, really. He could go off and chill for a bit for the next 5 minutes, 3 seconds, but he won't. He'll try and do a faster time. Big surprise for me, this. A Kinchi? I'm going to say a Kinchi, although that doesn't sound too Turkish. Kinchi, maybe? I don't know. If there's anyone out there from Turkey who can tell me how to pronounce that name, that would be wonderful news. But yeah, can do it. Top 5 right now, looking really good. With Leandro Werle just in behind in E6.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's great to see some different names inside of the top couple of positions here. But for Akinci, it's I'm going to need guidance on how to pronounce that as well. It's been a decent lap time. He's not going to improve on this lap, I don't think, considering he's about 0.3 of a second down on his best lap here. He'll get another opportunity or two to be able to get fast laps in before this session is done and try and work his way a little bit more secure inside of that top 6. Here's Dominic Blyer, who's heading his way across the line now. There's no lap time being set for him. With regards to Brzezinski, he's on the start of a flying lap here as well. So the task for these drivers is really how secure inside the top 6 do you want to be? Ideally, you want to be in Kevin Siggy's position, obviously, but not everyone has the ability to be able to go and do that.
No, he's quite good. Is old Kevin Siggy. He's there's not really much else I can say about him. He's just good. And again, will he be enjoying it? Probably not. But he's up where he needs to be. As long as he's qualifying P1, he's not going to be really worried about whether he's smiling or not. It is a red line front 2 as it stands. Kevin Siggy, Rietveld. Dominic Blyer, who was at Triton, now Williams driver. He is in P3. Then you've got in behind Brzezinski, who was a teammate of Mr. Dominic Blyer. And then you've got that Akinci. Again, I don't know exactly how to pronounce that name, but there's always one. I said this last week. Every single time we do RaceRoom, there's always one surprise. I think Akinci might be that surprise today.
Yeah, I think so too. 3.5 of a second behind Kevin Siggy is not a bad place to be. Let's just say that. I think a lot of people will wish they were 3.5 of a second behind Kevin Siggy's lap time, let's be honest. So in a very, very good spot indeed. Of course, is at risk on the start here because we saw what happened to Ottaviani and Bennett in that first shootout. If there's any issues, then you can very quickly find yourself in a barrier or getting cycled towards the very back of the field. So it's a very tense first lap of things here when you have all of that context with you.
Yeah, another surprise here will be Matthias Baudalf, currently in P7. A new name for me, which is it's always nice to see. Leandro Worley, I didn't expect him to be that quick on this sim, but again, proving me wrong. One of those drivers that's just, quick on everything. I want to make sure that I'm saying it is Leandro, right? Yeah, because it's Lucas Worley and Leandro Worley, the brothers. So I want to make sure I'm saying the right one. It's only got the L there. Across the line we go here then for Akinci, and it's the start of a flying lap then. Well, no, we're going to start one more time, and he will not have time to complete this. So he is done. Best possible position is top 5.
Yeah, top 5 is not bad, and it's not looking to be threatened here at the moment either, although sometimes, I put the curse of the commentator on things. Here's Jacob Brzezinski heading his way through and across the line now. This will be a last attempt, if it's an attempt at all, and does not improve on his position there. Does Brzezinski. So that's his particular qualifying done. Let's see if any drivers are still on for a time here. Well, Siggy is still out there and logging laps, by the way, and he's gone purple through sector 1. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it just really isn't fair that he's this fast. Yeah, so purple through sector number 1. Are we about to see another purple sector? He's gone through it, but he hasn't given us that information, so I'm wondering whether he might have cut somewhere. Rietveld, by the way, under 1/10 of a second now between him and his teammate. Around the final corner we go. And again, the second sector hasn't come up, so we have no idea if he's going any faster. Across the line he goes. Oh, my God.
Oh
my. Yes, he has gone faster. It's a 35.406. So he now is another 1/10 of a second clear of everybody. Incredible stuff there from Mr. Siggy. And he is going to take pole position. Jeffrey Rietveld in second. Dominic Blyer will be in third. His Polish compatriot there, Jacob Brzezinski, will be in 4th position. Akinci will be in 5th. Leandro Worley in that pivotal top 6 position. And again, if you are new to this, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 races. Heat 1's done and dusted. Heat 2 is happening now. If you finish in the top 6 in this race, you go through to our major championship, which starts in a month's time. And if you don't, if you finish in 7th down to 22nd, you will then get onto the grid for our last chance qualifier race, which will happen after this. And then you need to be top 4 in that one. So top 6 in this race, and then top 4 in the next one will qualify through to our major DTM eSports championship. Right, time for a warm-up here. They're going to be out on track for 60 seconds, and they get another 60 seconds to indeed get themselves involved in a grid. But we've got a little interview here. We're not going to see him on screen, but we have got Mr. Jiri Toman. Jiri, long time no speak, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. After a lot of driving on Rennsport, I could finally go on another sim, and yeah, I'm having fun. So yeah, it was a nice race, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
You've become kind of Mr. P2, and to now go get P1 at the first time of asking, you must be feeling great.
Yeah, of course it's great. It's just the shootout for the main championship, but yeah, pole and race win is always very good. I didn't really expect this because I didn't do that much practice for on RaceRoom, sorry. But yeah, these last 2 days I kind of tried to practice a lot. And yeah, it worked out.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You said the practice worked out, but of course we have to set our sights now to the next stage of the competition, the main stage of the competition. How confident are you feeling, considering the names that we're seeing qualify through to the main season? Are you feeling a little bit intimidated, or are you gonna take it in your stride?
Oh, I don't feel like intimidated at all because yeah, it's the same names that we've been racing against basically on all the other sims, so it's all very like familiar, I would say. And also, I will have all my teammates, Erhard, Marcel, Ulas. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a strong season, and I'm looking forward to racing more on RaceRoom.
Never heard of haven't heard of Ethan, no. We've got about 10 seconds to go here, Jiri. What have they got to do to get a good start in this heat number 2?
Use the double clutch, I guess, but yeah, that's the advice.
Nice one, mate. Good to hear from you again. Congratulations again, and we'll see you in about a month's time.
Thank you. See you guys.
Here we go then, 5 red lights for heat number 2. Great to hear there from Jiri Toman, and we're about to go green for heat number 2. Here we go. Top 6 go through to the main championship, and then we have indeed got 7th down to 22nd, who we'll see again in heat number 3. We are off and running here at Zandvoort. Across the track we will go by Kevin Siggy, and he goes, yep, I am absolutely going to dominate here, and already about half a second in the lead. See a bit of bump drafting happening in the background, and Jeffrey Riefel here is going to try and keep that overlap. I don't think he's going to. I actually think Dominic Blyer is probably going to end up in P2, although Riefel is fighting back.
Yeah, absolutely. Blyer on the inside becomes the outside for the next turn, and this is where things get all snagged up sometimes if people go side by side, but no dramas coming through there just yet as they head their way up through turn 4, 5, this snaking section. Eventually culminating in Schieflach, which is the downhill right-hander. They do get themselves single file with Blyer in 3rd place, Brzezinski in 4th, Wöhler in 5th, and it's Ralph Ringer who's been able to get himself up into 6th place.
Wow, Paringa taking full advantage there of a poor start from Akinci. Akinci dropping down a couple of spots now. So yeah, not ideal. And we see some side-by-side action here. Andonovski, the Macedonian, is also going to go through. So Andonovski trying to make it 2 Macedonians through. Erhan Yujovski, Ethan, has managed to get himself through last time out. And we are seeing some overtakes. It's crazy coming. We're seeing overtakes. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. It's we've been a bit starved for them so far over the course of these 2 shootouts, and there's a look down the inside from Mihai Neg, which was going to be very hopeful, but he decides to back out of it and go back single file. I think if he decided to commit to that, we might have had a monumental incident down through 11 and 12 there.
Yeah, the Romanian tried to make something work there. Ultimately, it didn't work out, and yeah, they're facing the right way, which I think is probably the most important thing out of that whole little bit of driving between everyone. Philip Drays, by the way, he just made a lovely overtake. He's moved up into P13. Yeah, he managed to get a move done from 14th position. So good stuff here. Side-by-side action. We go a little bit further back then. We're on board then with Victor Veloso, who's just about trying to hang on at this stage. There's a bit of a nudge there in towards the carousel. It's feisty in the mid-pack here, Connery. It is feisty.
It is absolutely nose to tail amongst the vast majority of these cars, but yeah, it's been all fair so far. We have had a DNF, by the way. Matthias Aldov in the Austrian is out of the event. DNF, didn't quite see what the incident was that he was involved in, but it was severe enough for him not to take any further part in this event. Oh my word!
Adam Pinchet's gone. Down he goes. There's always a Hungarian, ladies and gentlemen, and unfortunately that's a Hungarian facing the wrong way. He's going to get it figured out. But yeah, down to 19th position, and he was probably not really pushing up towards the top 6 anyway, but he will be very unhappy with how that's just gone.
Yeah, it's at least for the brief art that we saw of it, it seemed like a solo car incident, but I can't say that for sure. And unfortunately, due to the way that we, the things that we have set up here, we're unable to do replays, so that will have to remain a mystery for now. But of course, the stewards will have that luxury, so they'll be able to go back and see if there's anything untoward during that situation. I don't think there was, though. It does result in Adam Pinches losing 6 spots compared to where he started, down in 19th place now. Oof.
Well, we can't see a replay, as you just said, so let's just say that someone took Adam Pinches out. Someone spun him. Don't worry, Adam, we've got you covered, brother. But yeah, it looks like he might have done it on his own. We're on board then with Uval Rossen, who is, well, he's going to leave the door open up the inside for another AMG to try and find himself a position. But ultimately, if you're on the outside line through there, even with the old layout, you're still going to get a really good run, even more so now with the new layout. Leon Rudiger, currently in P10. Going to try and make up a couple of positions. He tried to find that spot and didn't quite work out. Isaac Reno, how you doing? Here supporting all the Brazilians. Love to see that. Let me know who you're supporting, guys, in the chat. So I'm trying to keep an eye on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm trying to keep an eye on everything at the same time. You see a bit of a mistake there. Leon Rudiger senses another opportunity, not quite close enough to take full advantage. Although he's now going to find himself an AMG-sized hole. That closes up very, very quickly indeed. And yeah, it's nice to see that we're seeing genuine fights.
Yeah, there's those big wide entries into 9 and 10 and are so inviting for the cars behind, because you have to take that big wide arc. That's the normal racing line, taking the wide entry, but it just leaves about a mile and a half of space on the inside for someone to stick their nose down in, which can be a very, very big concern. I've seen so many incidents on those apexes where someone's gone for a hopeful lunge, but the door is always closing due to the trajectory of the car and the normal racing line being taken.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's tough there, because if you defend it, you're going to lose a lot of time and you're going to be vulnerable on the exit. If you don't defend it, well, these are sim races. They're going to send it up the inside of you regardless. So you need to be really, really careful. This is the bubble position then. Andonovski looking for a position on Peringa. There's a door open up the inside of the carousel. No, he's going to take a wide line here and try and get the power down early. The Audi, though, struggling to hit the loud pedal, and ultimately slides on the exit of the corner. The Ferrari very, very close to lead. Are we going to see 2 Ferraris make it through today, through the swinging right hand, and come downhill now? Again, the gap not really opening up. If you get a good exit through here, then one of the bigger braking zones appears to the right hander coming up, and it opens up nicely to make that opportunity for yourself. But again, Andonovski not quite close enough. He's got, what, 14 minutes to try and make something happen here. Very much looks racy.
Really does, and into that big wide arc of turn 10, trying to get that power off. The Audi just looking a little nervous on the rear ends there. Not a massive concern for Springer at the moment, but you know, do that enough times and you might start to feel your tires get away from you as you've overheated them, you've scrubbed them to pieces. It's not a great place to be. But for now, Andonovski going to be attempting to keep up the pressure here. That might be the winning move. Still got a lot of this race to go.
Yeah, Rudiger just made a position up and then gave it back to the Israeli, 11th and 12th position, so they were battling for position. And ultimately, I wonder if there was a bit of contact between the two of them, and he's just been kind. Uval Rosen was ahead, and then Rudiger quite literally pulled over and let him have the position back. So I reckon that he's let the position go there. Actually, he loses out to Veloso now as well, hasn't he? Yeah, Victor Veloso goes through and trying in the return leg to retake the position. Not quite going to work out. The door will need to be left open here. Rudiger does not have that luxury, and unfortunately he's going to drop another position. So yeah, try to move forward in this race, and unfortunately you just get shuffled backwards. And you lose one position with everybody being so tight, Connery, on this grid in terms of race pace or ability. You're just going to hemorrhage time and lose more and more spots.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks, if you get caught out of line, it's going to be very, very difficult to recover, and the freight train comes up underneath you, shall we say, if there's a good pack of cars all challenging for the same piece of real estate. So yeah, it is a very, very tricky situation to be in. Of course, Rudiger now lost 3 spots compared to where he started. He started in 10th, he's now down into 13th place. It's the same sort of situation for Akinci as well. started inside the top 6, started inside those qualification spots, but unfortunately it was a poor first lap that has now followed him all the way back in towards P8. So he needs to gain those couple of positions to get himself into that qualification slot, but it just so happens that the leader of this pack of 3 is in that last qualification spot.
Yeah, 100%. There's one spot available for 3 drivers now. The front 5 have kind of got away here nicely. Leandro Worley looking really, really good. Brzezinski looking really, really good. Blyer looking really, really good, as well as Rietveld and indeed Siggy. Siggy, I think Siggy might have just been taking his foot off the pedal here a little bit to try and give Rietveld a bit of a tow to help him pull away from the group behind, as to not be under any kind of pressure. But they look really, really good. And that's the bonus of having a teammate, as we see a very big slide there from the Ferrari. And wow, Andonovski gets it back under control relatively well. But that, I don't know, I'm not sure that, it looks calm now. I'm not sure it was very calm in that cockpit.
Yeah, I think he had his life flash before his eyes there. I think that was a bit of a scary one. It loses him a little bit of time, on the order of a couple of tenths of a second off of Bringer. Now falls back into the clutches of the Audi behind now. But I don't know, Akinci hasn't really been showing the a lot of threat here so far this race. He's been the one falling back, in fact, so he does need to turn that around if he wants to have a chance before the end of this race.
Yeah, he certainly does. Sliding around like that does not help you. I can assure you of that right now. Although he does have the luxury of thinking about the last chance qualifier race coming up, going, do you know what? I'm currently in the strongest position for that. I fancy my chances against everybody in this race because I'm currently in that 7th position. I'm not sure how much luxury that is, so I'm not sure how much it's going to help your brain, because ultimately there's another qualifying session to go through and another race to go through. So yeah, it's still a lot of pressure. But right now, that mistake has cost him. And Bringer, now 4.9 seconds off the lead. More importantly, is 7 seconds ahead of the next car, which is Andonovski. The front 6 now got a little bit of room to manoeuvre. Ooh, a nudge there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Akinci really giving the hurry up to Andonovski there. Using the bumper, using the nose a little bit, and you can see how aggressive these guys are. Late braking in towards 10-3 there as the Hockenheimring spot. Everything's blocked here at Zandvoort, because that's the Dutch word for corner, I believe.
Oh, sorry, I thought you sneezed. My bad.
But yeah, it's this is a very intriguing battle, because Andonovski, in the process of now defending from Akinci, he's really dropped off the back of Bringer. Is now down to up to a second is the gap, and now Andonovski seems to be struggling a little bit here.
Yeah, this is not ideal, not only for Andonovski, because he's losing out on the car in front, but if the drivers behind don't get a move on and get past him, ultimately their race for that P6 is over. So as it stands, this is not looking overly too brilliant for anyone apart from Bringer. Bringer right now is thinking, yep, this is cool. Looking in my rear view mirror, they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The gap now has come out by 4 tenths of a second that last lap as well. It was 7 tenths, now it's 1.1. Perfect.
Yeah, lovely stuff indeed. That's what you love to see if you're in that final qualification spot at the moment. And it'll be very crucial if over the next lap or so, Akinci can make his way through, or get his way through, because it seems like Andonovski is really struggling out there over the last couple of laps, maybe taking a bit too much out of his tyres early on with sliding things about, and now it's dropping back into the clutches of the cars behind. But overtaking does come at a premium here, just like at Oschersleben. It's not as bad as Oschersleben, but it's still a very challenging maneuver to try and make.
Yeah, they just come out of Hugenholtz, heading up then to Rob Schlottermacher. The corner names here, they are some interesting corner names, I'm not going to lie. Some of my favourite, actually. Then we come through to Masters here before they come in towards turn 9. Box needs turn, I think. I think we figured that out.
Yeah, we did.
Just about got there. Now we come through turn number 10. Yeah, now we run down towards that chicane, and yeah, Andonovski losing all of that time, unfortunately, has just cost everyone else in behind as well. Yeah, has come down, not going to lie, it's down by about 9, it's down to 9 tenths of a second. Andonovski maybe has found something a big extra here. Still 7 minutes to go in this race, so you know, if one mistake and Paringa ultimately can throw this away. And the bigger those cars get in his rear view mirror, the more pressure is on, and the more he's spending his time looking at those cars and not braking zones, not acceleration zones, and ultimately losing time. So, yeah, Andonovski has got a job now just to get as close as he possibly can. The gap now 9/10 of a second. So good luck there from Andonovski. He's starting to figure it out.
You don't want to risk getting complacent in races like this because, you know, even if you back off, you know, say going 85% of your potential, that can still lead to mistakes because that's not your normal way of driving. So whenever you're outside your normal way of driving, that's where the risk of mistakes is going to be so much higher. So you just want to keep up a fast but not blistering pace, you know, a normal race pace, instead of trying to back off and try and secure the situation, because you might actually be putting yourself at more risk by slowing down. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's true.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more there. So, you know, you can't let any other thoughts in your mind slip in. You're just there to just try and go quickly. Jonathan Riley just dropped all the way down to the back of the grid, by the way. Now P27, so I'm assuming there must have been a spin of some sort as he now does outside that top 22. Remember, top 22, 7th, sorry, down to 22nd. We'll make it to our last chance qualifier, heat number 3 race. There's still a lot to play for if you're outside that top 2. 5 minutes, 50 seconds to go as we head then into the final chicane before we head around the final couple of corners here at Zandvoort. It's Kevin Siggy, half a second clear then of his teammate Jeffrey Reedveld. And Dominic Blyden is about 1.1 seconds further back in 3rd. Brzezinski in 4th. Leandro Werle is in 5th. And then we've got Paringa, who is in your final qualifying position. That is the blue Audi ahead of this Ferrari we're on board with right now. This is the final spot that will automatically qualify through to our DTM eSports Pro Championship 2024.
Not a lot of time to get this done either. Just about 5 minutes left to go. And, well, if Akinci wants this position, if Adanovski wants this position, then they need to be pulling in quali laps at this point. There's no ifs or buts about it. They want to get onto the rear end of Paringa and, well, either forcing him into a mistake or try somehow to manufacture a pass around here. It's very, very difficult to do, as we've already mentioned. But you have really no option. Otherwise, you're going to be dumped down in towards that last chance qualifier, and who knows what might happen down there.
Yeah, 100%. If you've got yourself an opportunity to be in the top 6, don't try and throw that away. You don't want to be going into the last chance qualifier. Not only will you have more drivers to contend with, because both of our races have had, I think, 28 or 29 drivers. You've got 32 to deal with then, and everybody's going to be more hungry, and there's less spots. So percentage-wise, you're in a bit of trouble. Only 4 positions remain going through after this race. So you just don't really want to leave it a chance. And if you nail qualifying at this stage, at Heat 2, what's to say you completely, you know, butcher it when it comes to heat number 3 or the last chance qualifier? You just put so much unneeded pressure on you. So right now, Paringa is fine, it's good, but the gap's now 6/10 of a second. Andonovski is absolutely flying right now. Might be worth getting on board with him because he is very much closing in. 3 laps remain in this race. Well, are we going to see Andonovski or are we going to see Paringa make it through to the next stage of the championship?
Still going to be a big ask here for the Macedonians to do anything. I think even if he gets close, even if he gets within 3/2 of a second, it is so tricky to draw yourself alongside and get that pass done here without the assistance of a mistake from the other driver. So it's going to be a very, very tricky final 3.5 minutes, especially for Adanovski. He does look pretty good. You know, gap is still within 0.6 of a second, but it seemed like the Audi just got a much better drive there off turn 3, which allows it to stretch its legs on this in this S's section and crucially back as well.
Yeah, I think the Ferrari looks good here. The gap's now down to ½ a second. We now come into 2 of the harsher of our braking zones. We can really push through here and make some time up. Gap now about, get ½ a second. Constantina effect, of course, coming into play. It's all really about the exit now of the left-hander onto the chicane, or into the chicane, should I say. The gap now 4/10, so it really is bringing that time down, maybe even 3/10, just shy of 4/10 it was at one point, and towards that final chicane. And I think the real positive here for the Ferrari driver is there's no toe to work with the driver in front. So right now he's not being helped by anyone in front, so if he does get an opportunity, it will be an equal opportunity. He can send one up the inside and know that he's not going to have, a car picking up slipstream from a car in front and being a little bit quicker in a straight line. So, we've got 2 laps here to try and get himself through to the Pro Series eSports of DTM 2024. Said that in a really warped order. 2 minutes to go.
It seems like the Audi has the legs in a straight line, though. Every one of these acceleration zones, Pringer is really trying to pull that gap out. It's stabilized at sort of about half a second, 0.6 of a second now, but Pringer does still have to be pretty perfect in these last couple of laps if he does not want to come under threat from behind. 0.6 of a second still as they head their way out of 3, and now you can expect to see Pringer just gain a couple of hundredths of a second on the way through here. That just seems to have been a theme.
Yeah, it's. I prefer to be in Pringer's spot than I would be in Andonovski's. I can assure you of that right now. So you can defend this position. You're in control of this situation as well. I think Andonovski, the only real positive in this situation is that the car behind him isn't right up his shaft pipe here. Otherwise, you know, he wouldn't really be able to make a move without suffering the consequences of losing a position himself. So he does have a genuine shot of going up into P6, but it's going to take a mistake now, I think. There's a mistake a little bit further back there. Looks like Michael Neg. Yeah, he just about got the power tank a bit too early there and lost out a touch. And ultimately has got it figured out nicely, and job is a good one. Final lap then, ladies and gentlemen. Top 6 will go through, and then we've got one last chance. Brzezinski, Verlet, and well, Pringa, as it stands, is currently 0.8 of a second clear. It's looking very good for the German.
Yeah, very, very good indeed. Pringa holding on to this 6th place, and in quite comfortable fashion here at the moment. He's managed the gap. He's done a good job in not getting spooked by Adanovski and his little bit of a charge over the last couple of laps. Things getting close though for P3. Brzezinski and Blyer, the 2 Polish drivers, nose to bumper as they head their way through 4 and 5 and 6 here on the final lap. I don't expect there's going to be any untoward situation between the 2 of them, but I imagine they'll all play nice until the checker flag here.
Yeah, well, you say that, but one over on each other. I don't know. Maybe we're going to see some fireworks near the end here. It's only 0.3 of a second. They're clever. They don't try and do anything. But yeah, maybe there's just there's something that goes awry here at the end. Andonovski, as you can see there, was getting getting a little bit closer to Pringa, although the gap's now about 1 second, so it was very short-lived. But around the final couple of corners we go. He is our current reigning champ, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Siggy. The Slovenian is one of the world's best when it comes to RaceRoom. He has come back after a long, long absence, and well, he has picked up exactly where he left off. He is a race winner here for heat number 2. He's booked his place into the DTM eSports Pro Series 2024. Along with him is his teammate Jeffrey Rietveld. They're going to get a 1-2. Then you've got Dominic Blyer and Brzezinski, who are a 3rd and 4th position. And then you've got Lucas Verlet, Leandro Verlet, not Lucas. There are 2 Verlets. He's going to finish in P5. And Pringa is just about going to hang on. Andonovski made it very difficult in the end, but Pringa will safely make it through to our top 10.
Yeah, well done, well worked as well. Gained that 1 position off the start. That's all he needed. Kinchi having a problem in the early stages, sliding back, allowed Pringa to get up into that position. All is great for him. But there's the unofficial race results, of course, because everything's pending steward's review, but at least our top 6 shouldn't have a problem.
The Sixter picks up P1 and the fastest lap of the race, did a 36.021. Rietveld in 2nd spot. We've then got Dominic Blyer in 3rd, Brzezinski 4th, Verlet and Pringa. They booked their tickets through to our main championship. Andonovski, Akinci, Neg. We've got Dreis, Rosen, Rudinger, Vliestra, Inostroza, Pinches, Giuliato. They've got Janssen, Carton, Orban, Veloso, Arella, and Klassen. As it stands, they will be making it through to our last chance qualifier race, which will be happening very, very shortly. So if you're P7 down to P22, you've got 1 more chance. Connery, we have now done, 2 heats and 1 last chance qualifier. So we've got 1 more race of our shootout to find our final 4 drivers. There's 28 in the books, 4 left to go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our last opportunity, our last chance for the drivers to get themselves a slot inside of the DTM eSports Pro Championship. After this point, there are no more chances. That is it. Our grid is going to be set for the championship proper, and we'll then go ahead with those drivers to see who becomes the 2024 DTM eSports Pro Championship champion. But it seems a little bit too early to be talking about champions at this stage, Luke, as we do still have to get this last chance qualifier out of the way. A lot of big names back here. Of course, we had those guys that didn't do so well in the first race. We had Jono Opmeer, who's going to be part of this race. A couple of others as well that didn't quite get the top 6 that was required. So it seems like those top 4 spots are going to be ultra competitive here when push comes to shove. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it's all or nothing right now. I think we're going to see drivers take a real chance, especially through turn number 1 because of that camber. There's an opportunity to make an overtake there, also in towards the chicane as well, the carousel. So plenty of overtaking opportunities. Let's talk about our race winners so far. So we've had Moritz Lohner as a race winner. We've had Lucas Muller as a race winner. And today we have had Yuri Toman and Kevin Siggy. 4 drivers that, for me, I think are instantly, they're going to be fighting for the championship. Who's looked the most impressive out of those 4 for you?
Siggy was just so relaxed about the entire situation, wasn't he? He just put in those absolutely bombshell qualifying times and simply never looked back during the race. You mentioned it at the time when we got the race start going. He had half a second on the way in towards turn 1 already. So a very, very dominant performance. And I think he's definitely going to be up there once again once we get round to the championship. Whether or not he's got the edge over Lohner or Lohner has the edge over him, that's the undecided factor at the moment. And of course, we have all those third parties looking to try and get themselves a piece of the glory as well.
100%. And yeah, you mentioned qualifying there with Kevin. The first lap time that he produced was faster than everybody, and he produced 2 that were faster beyond that. So yeah, very relaxed. But it looks like we actually do have Kevin Siggy with us right now. Kevin, our reigning DTM champ. It's like you never left, my friend. Incredible qualifying from you, and incredible race performance. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, thanks, mate. I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well as well. And yeah, it's good to be back. I mean, the game did change a little bit, but I mean, most of the stuff that are in it are still as the same as I've been used to. So I mean, going back to it, it wasn't really that difficult. I'm happy with the performance. Not really happy with the quality lap time. I should have done a 0.3. I was trying to get it, could never beat it, and I'm quite annoyed actually. But I mean, it's fine. I did my best, and I think I feel pretty confident for the actual start of the season. So I'll be trying my best to get the best car out of it, test everything that is possible, and see what happens from there.
Yeah, you're definitely one of those drivers that can pull out some magic when it comes to qualifying. Do you think that's going to be an important thing to consider when we go into the main championship? Your qualifying performances, are those something you're going to focus on, or is it more of the race pace side of things, especially considering we have longer races in the proper season?
I mean, for sure I'm going to be focusing, I think, qualifying mainly, apart from like tracks that are just impossible to overtake on, but or possible to overtake on. Then you have to obviously be very careful on how you set up the car for the race, and considering it's a shorter format, which is quite unfortunate because I really did love the format 2 years ago. But for now, it's just about setting up the car as best as possible, focus on qualifying, focus on extracting everything from the setup itself, and just try and see if the tires actually do last. I mean, obviously you have to choose the right car for the race, which, quite frankly, at the moment the Audi didn't feel that great in the race. The pace was there, but just the tires were burning all the time. So, but let's see how it goes. I mean, there's a lot of people that are insanely good in the game. You got Lerner. You've also got Enzo. I mean, Enzo in practice is really good as well. And if he gets the lap in, I mean, he beats me in qualifying. So that's also possible. So let's see what happens. I mean, a lot of big names, a lot of stuff to take into account. But I mean, I'll be pushing as hard as I did 2 years ago. And yeah, that's it.
Who would you say is your biggest rivals then in this championship? I would imagine you have one eye on the shootout number 1 as well. Who would you say that maybe who you're looking forward to racing against, and who you're maybe thinking might be a rival for the championship?
I mean, it would be cool to, to kind of go back in time and race with the boys like Heathley and obviously Morris as well, and some other people that have been here since, you know, since I've started racing basically. But those two are like the main ones I'm kind of looking for outside of my team, because obviously Moritz is well known for being one of the best in RaceRoom, top 3 definitely. Same goes for Jack. He's also been very, very good, and at the end of the day, it also, you know, you have to take into account how good you are in the setups. And considering 2 years ago in the BMW, Morris did really well, and I think he extracted everything from the Beamer at that time. I'm expecting the same. If we're in the same car, then he's going to be a proper threat. But let's see how the car choices go. But it's just those two that I'm really eyeing at the moment. Potentially also maybe Enzo, as in my team, and Jeffrey. I mean, all of them are pretty fast, so there's a lot of names that I need to consider and not be scared of, but just take into account, you know.
Oh, we've got 700 drivers to be looking out for. Brilliant stuff. Kevin, thank you very much for giving us your time, mate. Really do appreciate that. Congratulations on your performance today, and we'll see you in a few weeks' time.
Appreciate it, mate. Much love.
Awesome to hear from the Sigster himself. Right, we're in qualifying for our final heat here. We're on board with Vermeulen. Go on, Connery, take us away.
Yeah, of course. Well, last chance to qualify for these guys. Top 4 will go through to the DTM eSports Pro Championship. The rest we'll have to look forward to next year. But we're on board with Vermeulen. He's heading his way through the middle sector here at the moment, through turn 9 he comes, setting up for turn 10, taking that wide arc in, and just kiss the apex, hug it a little bit before trying to get the power down. Car sliding out a tiny bit there, so maybe a little bit of time left on the table for the Belgian before he looks into the Hans Ernst Bocht, the ex-Audi S, I suppose, as he heads his way through there quite nicely. Sometimes you do want to be aggressive with the curbs coming through there to try and extract as much time as possible. And then we head in towards the final 2 corners. Again, a little bit of a slide on the apex there for Vermeulen. So this is looking like an okay lap. Maybe not amazing, but a good banker lap as he heads his way across the line.
Yeah, across the line we will go then. Vermeulen is going to produce a time that's good enough for P10. Needs to find a bit more. What's the best time we've got so far? 35.8. So that is from Akinci, actually, who did not start the race well. Was P5, I think, P2, but ultimately did not qualify and ended up in this race. Rudinger is in 2nd position. Then as it stands, look at that. It is 0.08 of a second separating our top 3. Very close indeed.
Yeah, incredibly close. It's amazing to see. It's been close, you know, for basically all 3 of the qualifying sessions that we have so far. Of course, our last one, you know, we can kind of ignore Kevin Siggy at the front of the field. Everyone, apart from Kevin Siggy, was very close to each other. Here's Yuval Rosen, who decides to abandon the lap and take the tow back to the starting point. So he's going to be one of those drivers that has not set a time just yet. He's joined with Daniel Berker, Tiziano Raimondi, and Christian Orban in not having a lap time set just yet.
Someone's completely lighting up the engine somewhere. I don't know if you can hear it, but someone has just got their throttle pedal down. It's just going, ah! Again, maybe I'm just hearing things, but it sounds like someone is just doing something crazy. Akinci then has gone a little bit faster. Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah, I can hear it in the pits. Rudiger then is 2nd spot. We've then got Enzo. So 2 Enzos as it stands, looking like they're going to make it through. Enzo Filipao is currently, we're now 4th position actually. Unfortunately for him, it's just been pushed down into 4th. And Otmir has now been moved down into 5th position. So yeah, interesting to say the least here as Remy Delorme moves up into 3rd spot. So it's a double front. There it is. I can hear it. There is someone with their foot just bang on the loud pedal.
I'm not sure who it is, because I'm not seeing anyone in the pits at the moment.
Okay. It's probably Max, isn't it? Max is
It's
just
someone.
there, chilling on the infield. In his Formula 1 car.
Yeah, there's people at the starting point. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, someone just completely on the loud pedal. That's crazy. Right, so Rudiger, P2 as it stands then. So Jarno, again, moves down to 5th position. But Jarno is now within a 10th of the top 4. So F1 eSports double champ. He is from the Netherlands. We are in the Netherlands today at Zandvoort. Are we potentially about to see another Dutchie go through? We've obviously already seen Rietveld make it through. Are we about to see Jana Opner also join him? There's nothing between the top drivers. Andonovski's going to be furious. He only missed out by 1 position in the last race. Right now, he's a couple of spots outside that top 4. We're on board again with Opner, who's just got purple through sector number 1. That looks like a very good hairpin for him. Down towards then the final chicane. We're about to cut the timing beam for sector number 2. How quick is it? Across the line he goes. Oh, it's a bit slow. He needs to be quickling through the final sector here. And if he finds himself a couple of hundredths, he will move up to 3rd position. So he doesn't even need to be worried about P1 and P2. Find yourself a couple of hundredths here and you move up into that top 3 position. Around the final couple of corners we go, using a bit of curb on the exit. Not sure he's maximizing his speed there. But again, he's the professional sim racer. I am the commentator that tries to make sense of these situations. Across the line as we go. Across the line, Jano Opmer, did he go faster? No, he did not. That's unfortunate, but we've got a new pole sitter, ladies and gentlemen. What is it? A 135 point, again, 850. Leonard Carton has put it onto pole position.
Yeah, he has. It's very close run thing at the very front of the field. 300ths of a second back to Akinci. Then 500ths of a second back to Rudinger as well. So things are very, very tight. And Adam Pinches gets himself involved as well. Goes P4. 61 thousandths of a second behind your leader. Your top 4 are all within the same 3/4 of a tenth of a second. That is crazy stuff. And Del More and Enzo Filipao, the 2 Frenchmen, are not too far behind either. This qualifying is looking as tight as you like for this last chance qualifier. You can see what it means to these drivers, that last opportunity to try and get yourself qualified, and they're taking it ultra, ultra seriously.
I think if you said to Filipao, you know, right now, or Delorme, oh, you're going to be a 1/10 of a second off of the, you know, P1. They'd be like, yeah, cool, I'll take that. No dramas. I'm definitely top 4. Nope, not today. Look at this. It is so close at the top end. Top 12 separated by 0.2 of a second. You find half a tenth right now, you're going to jump up 4 or 5 positions. As Can Akinci, who is currently in 2nd spot, decides to go and try another lap. Are we about to see an improvement here? No, we're not. Philip Dreys then. Across the line we will go in 7th position. Maybe a final opportunity.
Yeah, may just be the one of the final, if not the final opportunity here. Rudinger improved on his first sector there as well. In 3rd place, it only small improvements needed to try and make your moves up the board here at the moment. As we see Rudinger with this, well, he's going to come across the timing beam here in just a second to see where he is at. Vermeulen to the top, and Rudiger's gone purple again.
Oh, Rudiger has gone purple. This might be a chance at pole position here. It's half a tenth separating the front 4 as it stands. The Belgian, out of absolutely nowhere, has managed to put himself on pole position. But does Rudiger have one more trick up his sleeve? This will be the qualifying session over for him. He will not get one more lap time in. Across the line in the AMG. Does he improve on his time? No, he doesn't.
Oh.
He stays P4. So what's happened in the final sector there? Made an absolute meal of it. We've got Akinci here who is not going faster, but no, he's not. Well, I say he's not going faster. He's only 5 thousandths of a second slower than what P1 is as it stands. Across the line he will go. Oh, it's 4 hundredths of a second. We act like it's a massive margin. It's not huge. I think he could still find some time, but he's got to be absolutely perfect around the final couple of corners. But the good thing he can take from this is that he is already into that top 4. Well, is he now? He is still in P3 as Cartel has just gone up into P1, and it's by nearly 0.2 of a second. It's massive from the German. As Delorme moves up into P3, Akinci's dropped down to 4th. Across the line for him, and he's back up to P2. Unbelievable scenes here, as we're now back on board with the Frenchman who's currently down in 7th, Filipao. Has he got one more trick up his sleeve? Round the final corner he will come. We've got the results on your screen, but does he go any better? It doesn't look like he does. No, he will be 7th position. Leonard Carton has taken P1. Can Akinci in 2nd. Axel Vermeulen is taking P3. And Remy Delorme is your top 4. And I tell you what, 3 of those 4 drivers is a big surprise for me. What a quali.
That was incredible. He saw those final lap times come in, but Carton going 1.5 tenths of a second faster than everyone, just sort of out of nowhere. 35.659 for him, fastest lap of the session. And of course, like you mentioned, Vermeulen sort of was sleeping for the first, 8 minutes of the qualifying session, and then all of a sudden gets himself a P3.
Yeah, absolutely. And just starting in that top 4 gives you such confidence for sure. So, yeah, that's where you want to be. Remember, this is the last race. This is the last 4 spots available for the DTM eSports 2024 Pro Championship. 32 drivers will be taking part in our 6-round championship, and we've already found 28 drivers. So literally, these are the final 4 spots available. Connery, any kind of predictions out there?
Oh boy. Carton, as long as he can convert that pole position and get at least the first couple of laps in the bag, I think he has it in terms of the race win, given how difficult it is to overtake here. But it seems like a bit of a maelstrom behind, to be honest, where anyone could really end up anywhere. So that's really the exact prospect that you want as a viewer coming into a race, not knowing who's going to finish where. So I would say Carton at the moment, of course, because we've seen some good things from pole position sitters so far in the shootouts, but in terms of the order behind, I have no idea.
I want to reiterate that Shootout 1 standard was so high, and for Shootout 2 to be even a higher standard is quite ridiculous. So when we get to round 1, the qualifying, the time from top to bottom is going to be, we're going to see thousands of a second make a difference for multiple drivers. It will be a ridiculous season, and we've seen it close, Connery. We've done the last couple of seasons, right, of DTM eSports, and we've seen qualifying be really tight. I think this might be the tightest grid we've ever seen, and by quite some margin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the stats to back that up, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because we've seen some fantastic qualifying sessions over the course of these 2 shootouts. And like you said, once we get to the main season qualifying, oh boy, that's going to be crazy stuff, because, it might mean that, you get promoted 7 positions with just a couple of hundreds.
Here we go then. It is the final race of our shootout season to get into the DTM eSports Pro season. 5 red lights on your screen. Top 4 will advance through. It is Carton in P1, Aki in P2, and actually, Aki's not got off the grid. He's not got off the grid here at all. Akinci has not got off the grid well at all, and it's 2 races in a row where he's just, there's big contact! Oh no, Akinci just did not get off well. He is not going to go through. Well, he's taken a couple of cars with him. Jarno Opmeer being that car.
Oh dear, that was a big mess, and it might be, some form of mess coming through turn 3 there, but they're able to all gather it all up there, all stacked up together. Antonovsky, Philip Pau, Neg, Kunze, Balestra, all involved in this, all side by side going through the SS section, side by side into Schlieflack as well, and a big moment for Philip Pau out in towards the gravel.
Off you go, Philip Pau. That is game over, I'm afraid. A little slidey down the hill and into the gravel trap we will go. So not ideal in the slightest. We're on board then with Vicente, Alvaro Vicente. And, oh wow, this just, are people taking chances? Yes. How aggressive are people driving? Also, yes. It's interesting to say at the very least. We've got a trio of BMWs now. Marvin Backenberg was leading it. Unfortunately, just lost that position to the Italian in front in P19. But yeah, absolute carnage, and people have to take chances and hope that they make it stick at this stage of the competition. When there's only a top 4 positions available right now. I think we've got a couple of cars maybe pulling over, deciding we're done here today. Not the ideal start. It's frantic for sure. Not trying to understand exactly what's happened. I think the biggest loser really is Jarno Opmeer, isn't he? He's managed to get completely taken out there by Akinci, not really getting off the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, didn't take the advice that was given to him. We're going to see 3 wide, really, in towards turn number 1 there. At least they attempted it. Orban and Janssen are going side by side through the exit of turn 1 there. Orban able to come out on top in this particular instance. But I feel like we've had more side by side in this opening 2 laps, than we've had for the combination of the 2 heats that we had before.
They just have to, don't they? It's as simple as that. You've got to hope that people are making the same sort of errors at the front end, and you can make up positions of people running off the track. Because if you're P20 right now, the only chance you've got of getting up into that top 4 is if there's a mistake. Philip Dreves now trying to put some pressure on Adam Pinches. So Ferrari versus BMW, not the favoured cars really today. Audi's been the strongest. We've got Mercedes probably been favoured the second most amount of times. Right now, Ferrari power versus BMW power. And just ahead of them then, we've got Rudinger, who is just in a good spot, good enough spot. Oh, sorry, no, this Pinches is up ahead, isn't he? Pinches is in the pink car. Sorry, I can only apologise there. So Dreis is in 6th, and Andonovski is just in behind. So right now, they need to make 2 overtakes if they want to get ahead.
Yeah, 2 overtakes. And, well, we have... Leander Arato in the DTM eSports chat saying top 4 quality for eSports now, right? Yes, you're absolutely right. Only the top 4 in this particular race are through. So it's a little bit more of an exclusive club at the front of the order. Currently occupied by Carton, Vermeulen, Delorme and Rudinger. But, well, the other competitors are not too far behind.
No. Right now, Carton and Delorme, maybe even Vermeulen, they're wildcards for me. Those drivers are wild cards. Actually, had Axel Vermeulen, he raced in one of my RaceRoom leagues a couple of years ago. Didn't really pull up any trees, but the improvement from then to now is absolutely remarkable. So yeah, I'll tip my hat. Fair play to him. Really, really good performance today. And that quality that just came out of nowhere had to be special really in that session, just because of how close everybody was. And he just pulled it out of the bag, showing that he can do a pressure as well. So, you know, if we're going to go on arcs of improvement, there is a world where it doesn't really matter if you qualify in this top 4. If you are just going to continue to improve at the rate you are, then maybe, you know, during the main season, we're going to see Vermeulen right up the sharp end. Could be that case. Carton, by the way, looking really good right now. 7/10 clear of Vermeulen. Delorme, new name for me as well, looking really good at P3. And then Rudinger, who we've seen in the DTM eSports many, many times before, currently in that top 4 position. Adam Pinches, it's always a Hungarian, Connery. It doesn't matter whether it be touring cars, whether it be GT cars, whether it be open wheel, whether it be one of the ranked special events that RaceRoom have. Make sure you go to the RaceRoom Discord, guys, because there's plenty of events for you to get involved in at a community level. There's always a Hungarian.
There absolutely is. There absolutely is. And here's something to mess with your head a little, Luke. Of everyone, you know, with everyone that's qualified so far, remember that at least some of them will be considered backmarkers in the actual season. That messes with my head because they're all so quick.
That's madness, isn't it? That really is quite ridiculous. Knowing that some of these drivers are going to be backmarkers on their actual pace as well.
Yeah.
So it's not a case make a mistake, like on their actual pace. It's going to be mind-blowing, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, the 32 drivers that we will have for our DTM eSports Championship, which is going to happen in March and indeed in April. You don't want to miss it. It is going to be outstanding. I cannot wait.
The level of competition has gone up once again for 2024 in the DTM eSports series, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see these drivers out there competing for that title. Really, it's going to be fantastic. But we've still got to decide on 4 more drivers to join that season. Currently, it's Carton, Vermeulen, Delorme, and Rudinger. But it can all change in the next 14 minutes, especially given there's a bit of a train of cars behind Rudinger.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a train of cars here behind Rudinger, and he will not be liking that. But you know, ultimately the cars in front of him aren't really going overly too fast either. So Rudinger really needs Delorme to get on with it a little bit of touch here and just kind of pull away together. Because if it does become a bit of a pinch point, pardon the pun, didn't even mean this, but Pinches will get himself involved. He will find himself an opportunity, and he will take on that opportunity. So right now, you're in 3rd and 4th, you're golden, you're good to go through. But don't get involved in any potential side-by-side.
Yeah, that's the situation there. It's just too risky at this stage to go fight for positions that are not necessarily required. It might be a bit frustrating if you're rooting and I mean, if he can pull off a quick one on Delorme here, that would end up being beneficial, but you can never guarantee it. And the longer you go side by side here, the more and more chances you're going to give to Pinches, to Trace, to Antonovsky all behind to try and improve position. It's going to have to be a calculated risk being taken.
Yeah, but on the flip side, if you're getting held up significantly enough, you're going to get sent by the car behind you. So do you now, if you're Rudinger, do you look at the Frenchman in front and go, I've got to make this overtake to give myself a bit of insurance? Because look at this, Pinches is so close right now. We get a lovely onboard shot then as we head down towards the final chicane. Across the timing beam for the end of sector number 2. Hard on the brakes, switching to right to left, using all of that curve on the inside there, trying to get the power down without over-rotating and losing the rear of the car. Now we come towards the double apex final corner. Remember, this is the old layout. We haven't got the banking here, so it's a little bit more difficult to negotiate. You've got to let off the power ever so slightly around the final corner, especially in the slipstream. You can see that that car in front of Rudinger is all over the show right now. Really is trying to put the pressure on Delorme, who's currently in what would be P3. Pinches still not really close enough to kind of force any kind of move.
Not close enough at all. There's a bit of a swap behind. Julian and Kunz are involved in it. That was an intriguing one back there that we just missed with our TV cameras, and these guys are going to get pretty close in towards turn 3 here as well. Not as much camber as there is in the real world these days, of course, with the track changes. But either way, it's still looking like these guys are very close to fighting here. 1/10 of a second between the two of them on the way into the sheer flag. Ooh, I think it's a bit too close for comfort.
Yeah, 100%. We've already seen one out, slide off the track around these parts. They're very quick in terms of traction. The pace does undo them a little bit. Let's say we're heading towards a halfway point of this race. Well, see that the Audi looked to make a potential move there. Wasn't quite close enough. Now in behind them, we've got Luciano Whitver getting involved as well. Whitver trying to find himself an opportunity to slide across the rear of the Audi. Or not quite open for an opportunity then as it stands. Adam Pinches still closing in for that P4 position. Look how close they are. Rudinger really needs to get past Delorme. Really does need to get past him here. Adam Pinches is just waiting for that opportunity. We're near the halfway point of this race, and Pinches has been looking after his tyres. He might have a genuine opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not outside the realms of possibility that this could happen for Pinches. Rudinger is really being held back by Delorme here at the moment. It's not a very nice situation to be in. It's probably one of the most frustrating positions to be in as a driver, where you're just stuck and you're nowhere really to go, and you're seeing the cars behind close in, start to apply the pressure, and it's for such an important position as well. P4, our last qualification spot into the DTM eSports Pro Championship season. All these factors add up, and that can cause drivers to crack, unfortunately.
Yeah, Delorme, though, has earned his right to be in P3 right now, so he's got every right to go there and defend that position. It will be a bit of a surprise for me. Another new name to add to the 7 million RaceRoom eSports drivers out there that are top-tier level, because the top level on RaceRoom is ridiculous. So yeah, just another name to add. Rudinger right now wants to get ahead of that name. Otherwise, could be under pressure from Pinches. Pinches still in that pink AMG, very close behind. 9 minutes left on the clock. Last chance saloon, remember, ladies and gentlemen. This is race number 6 of our shootout. We had 16 drivers go through in shootout 1. This is shootout 2. This is the last chance qualifier race. Only 4 spots are available. Front 3 are looking relatively good as it stands. 2 out of these 3 battling for position right now will also make it through to our championship.
It will. It's just in what configuration they'll come across the line. Of course, we haven't seen Rudinger go for any aggressive moves just yet. He hasn't quite been close enough in the right places. He's been pretty close on occasion, but it's in places where he can't really do anything with it. He can't go late on the brakes to draw it alongside. He can't sneak one up underneath or on the outside. It's just been kind of useless positions where he's been within, 0.2 of a second, but unable to capitalize. And now he has to be worrying about, Pinches behind. So it's all these factors really, really potentially affecting the mindset of Rudinger here at the moment. It's this is what makes professional drivers, I get the feeling, Luke. These exact situations are so formative.
Yeah, and looking at the times in qualifying, they are all hitting the brake pedal at the last possible time. They're hitting the accelerator pedal as early as you know, fathomable. I can't, you know, think about how quickly they can. Oh,
oh no! Adam Pincher's around and staring in the wrong direction. Has
got
to
no
wait.
real pressure.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Connery does not like a bad rejoin. To be fair, he read that perfectly. In all fairness, getting in his way, he knew what he was doing there. Connery, don't have a go at him.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, you had a very unfortunate drop out there, and I had to take the call, so I do apologise for that one. But yeah, Pincher's now straight back into a battle with Veloso. Careful into the chicane. They just about work it out, but he ends up with Pincher's losing a position.
Yeah, not ideal. It's gone from bad to worse now for Adam Pinches, and ultimately that is his DTM eSports Championship over, isn't it? 7 minutes to go. One slight error, and you know, like we were saying earlier on, he made one small error there. He's just half spin the car. You know, he wasn't even fully all the way around, and he's gone from P5, looking like he was going to battle for P4 and go through, and lost 10 positions just like that.
Yeah. We were hyping him up as well, weren't we? We were going, okay, Pinches, you know, he's going to try and lock onto the back here, try and cause an issue later on in the final couple of laps of the race, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. So that is pressure off a little bit here for Rudinger, actually quite a lot, to be fair, because now he doesn't have to defend from behind. He's going to really ride the back bumper of Delorme, though. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the end goal of this is, but he's going for it. And if you're Delorme, I think you just let him go. I don't think you need to get involved in this. You've got to think about the bigger picture, and he has thought about the bigger picture, and he has backed out. And he's gone, do you know what, Leon, off you go. Yeah, not going to be too worried about what's going on. Should we check out P25? Christian Seifert wants to see how his mate Sarli's getting on. And he is currently down at P24. But there he is. There's your mate. Currently still battling. Got a few cars in front of him chilling out. But Jan Sarli is P24 now. He's just gained a position magically. As soon as he went on board with him, he gained the spot. Unreal. Jan Otmir, by the way, some recovery. P20. He was in the back at the start of this race. Obviously, we saw him in the gravel. And he's managed to get himself up into a top 20. That's pretty impressive. We shouldn't really expect anything else from someone who is a two-time Formula One eSports champion. But yeah, he's done pretty well.
He has another position on the cards as well in the form of Raimondi that he might be able to get to secure himself more firmly inside the top 20. Meanwhile, we got positions, well, being fought for just outside the top 10.
Yeah, we've got the Chilean then, Avango and the Stroza trying to get into a top 10 position here. Just runs out of road, unfortunately, there. Or runs out of grip, should I say. Tried to brake late again. Turn number 1 is very cambered, right? So you can brake late there, but ultimately, it's only so wide you can go without losing time. Not quite able to make that move, but it's nice to see the drivers try and make things happen still.
Yeah, it really is, of course, you know, at this point, when you're in these sorts of positions here, pending something catastrophic at the front, you're not going to be qualifying into the main season. So you might as well have a bit of fun, which is what Inostroza is deciding to do now, down the inside of Zabda, and gets it done, to be fair.
Yeah, he has got it done, but I think there might be a bit of a reciprocation. Not quite going to work out. Almost contact between the two of them, but no, Angel and Inostroza. And so thank you very much. There's some more shenanigans happen a bit further back. Alan Pinches trying to give us a bit more overtaking, or at least an opportunity of an overtake a bit further back. And you would imagine he's a little bit faster than this group here, considering where he qualified.
Absolutely, and well, we'll see how far he can work his way through here. He's got oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean,
slow down. He had a slow down. Sorry, Vicente had a slow down, so he just gave up the position to the Austrian in front.
Yeah, I thought that was weird on first appearance. But these guys are going to be close once again here, down in towards turn number 1. Loso just about, what, 1.5 tenths of a second behind Marius Zabda, so that might open up opportunity down in towards turn 1. Here he goes. Yeah,
there we go. A potential send up the inside then from Veloso. On the exit, they will still be side by side, but we'll have the outside line going into the carousel. Has the inside line to set it up. As we come through here, off the track we are going to go, and Veloso, I'm going to say thank you very much. A lovely little squeeze from him there. Pinches is going to pinch his way through as well. And actually, that was a lovely bit of driving there. The only driver that lost out really was the pole, Zabdir. And it was really just because he ran onto the grass ever so slightly and then just kept going because of the way the track formed. A nice bit of driving there, actually, from Veloso and indeed Pinches. Nice move.
Yeah, well sorted out from everyone. It could have ended in a catastrophic incident, but really solved it with not too many issues. So Pinches continuing to press forwards here on the back of Veloso, carrying a lot more mid-corner speed there, maybe opening up the opportunity. No, he's just going to get himself back in line and live to fight another day. We've got less than 3 minutes left on the clock here. Leon Carton has had a very comfortable race at the front of the field. He's won 1.3 seconds ahead of Malin, and really hasn't looked back since the start of the event.
No, might be worth even putting him on camera just to remind people that he is in this race. There he is, Leon Carton, P1 as it stands. Just started the second to last lap. Comes through 1.4 seconds, then back to Axel Vermeulen, who is in second position. Really good job from Axel once again. We've then got Rudinger, who is in third position, a bit further back. We've got Delorme, who is in fourth position. Top four, separated by about 4 seconds. A bit of a gap. We've not really seen that so far today. Carton has really performed in this race, and actually he's only about a tenth off of what we were seeing from Kevin Siggy in terms of race pace. Really nice from him. Veloso now trying to defend from Adam Pinches. Pinches, I think he just wants to get a top 10 here, just have a good memory from the DTM eSports Shootout season.
Yeah, that could be the case. It's just a bunch of fun now. These drivers a little bit further down the field. The qualification is outside the realms of possibility, and you just want to end off the Shootout season, quote unquote. It's only been two events, with a positive step forward. So then you can carry that sort of momentum into any other esports series that these guys are deciding to take part in.
Yeah, and Adam Pinches will be there. It's as simple as that. When it comes to a RaceRoom championship, Adam Pinches is normally in the final few drivers. Obviously we've had effectively 128 drivers, but I would say it's more maybe 90 drivers because some of the drivers have obviously been duplicated over the 2 shootouts. Adam Pinches always seems to find his way in and involved in it. He's not quite going to make it to the big time this time round, unfortunately for him. But yeah, he's normally in and around it. Veloso currently in 11th spot. But let's have a little rundown of our positions then. So Carton is in the lead, ahead then of Axel Vermeulen. We've then got Rudinger in third, Delorme in fourth position, we've got Dreys in fifth position, and then we've got Andonovski. So Andonovski is in sixth. 2 races in a row for Andonovski where he was so close, but unfortunately, yet so far.
Yeah, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, unfortunately. You got to take those on the chin sometimes and just look to try and press on and do a little bit better in the next event. Was it an avoidable situation? Was it not an avoidable situation? Those are all the types of analysis that you'll do afterwards, and you can always learn from anything. Even if it was someone else's fault, you can still learn from it, and that's the attitude that you need to take. And hopefully, you'll be able to qualify yourself into next year.
Exactly that. Leonard Carton then coming around the final few corners. Very good display. He's had to come through the hard way, and that is via the last chance qualifier, or Heat 3, whatever you want to call it. Zabit here, by the way, has just dropped down into P19. Maybe about to go a bit further back as well. But as we come around the final couple of corners in the Audi, looks like we've got an Audi wins each round, actually. Each heat, which makes sense, I guess. But yeah, Carton comes around the corner then. It's last chance qualifier. Heat 3 win for Leonard Carton, and qualification through to our DTM eSports Pro Championship 2024. Axel Vermeulen is going to book his ticket in, as well as Rudinger goes across the line backwards, which is, I don't think you get extra points for an impressive finish, but I'm going to give out commentary points for it. I like it. And Delorme, wow, probably the biggest surprise of the day, managed to hold on, was under a lot of pressure earlier on in this race, and ultimately has managed to hold on. So congratulations to Delorme, and a Frenchman in the championship. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, definitely not a name that we would have expected to be in this sort of position. So well done to Delorme for getting his slot inside the DTM eSports Championship for 2024 against some very, very stiff competition indeed. That's crazy.
Yeah, Carton P1, Vermeulen P2, Rudinger P3. Delorme was in fourth position. Dreys and Andonovski are your top 6. Neg, Kunze, Witwer, Inostroza were your top 10. We then have Veloso, Pinches, Vicente, Urca, Orban, Janssen, Stromea, Opmir, P18 in the end, by the way. Some recovery there, considering he was last and in the gravel, making sandcastles. earlier on in the race. Zabdia in 19th, Sen in 20th. Then we've got Arella, Ree, Sali, Raimondi, Cravey, and Mackenberg as your final classified drivers. There were a couple more, but I cannot speak fast enough. Connery. I just, by the way, I just saw the lower thirds that went, his name's Luke, gone. They go so fast, don't they? You were right the other day. The lower thirds to tell you. So if you didn't read them, guys, because you can't read very fast, my name's Luke Crane. This is Connery Maddock. We're the commentators. But yeah, they go by so quick.
Hi.
But it's done. Shootouts are done, Connery. We have done 6 races. We found our 32 drivers, I think it is. And like you said earlier, I think the biggest thing we can take away is there are going to be some of these drivers that are backmarkers in our championship, which is just so difficult to comprehend.
Before I get onto your point, there we go. I've paused it. I've paused it.
Hey.
There we go. I can do mine.
Look at it.
There we go.
Hey.
They're working. I've paused them because they ended too quickly if I don't pause them.
eSports caster.
eSports caster. Yes, absolutely. And that's our social details down at the bottom. But shameless plug, I suppose. But yeah, it's all done. It's all over and done with, at least as far as shootouts are concerned. And now we have to look forward in about a month or so's time for the actual start to the season. And the level is going to be absolutely crazy in amongst the drivers that we have running here. It's going to be one of the closest fields in esports, I think. I'll go as far as saying that. It's going to be one of the closest fields in esports.
It always is, to be fair. It doesn't matter whether it be TCs, again, open wheel, or whether it be, what we're seeing here, DTM 2023 cars. It's always close on RaceRoom. The top tier is quite vast on RaceRoom. There's a lot of them. I think there is a significant drop-off then beyond that, but there's just so many top-tier talents that will qualify, within half a tenth of a second of each other. So yeah, that is our 32 drivers. Are we going to do an interview here, Connery, or should we wrap up? I don't know what the plan is.
Well, we can interview our one of our final one of our final qualification. I'll start again. We can interview one of our final drivers to get themselves their slot booked into the DTM eSports Championship. Hello, Leo.
Hello, guys. Good evening.
Christ, didn't expect that to be that deep. Wow, what a voice. Hello, mate. Congratulations, by the way. First question to you is, how important was that qualifying session?
Honestly, the importance of the qualifying in esports, I've only come to understand this night in the second heat, which was my first heat. I just didn't get it together, the qualifying lap, and that's what I learned. Well, if you don't manage to get the lap, there's only a very little chance you're going to make it to the front. And then on the other hand, in the heat 3, it was honestly, it's a bit surreal. It was the best lap I've ever driven on this track, and that just showed me again, wow. And honestly, after that, I was in a chat with my colleague Nico Senna, and like when it was 10 minutes left to race on the straight, I told him honestly, being a second in front, it's not even that difficult now. So yeah, absolutely essential, the qualifying.
Yeah, it has been, and we've seen some incredible qualifying efforts from not just yourself, but multiple drivers throughout the course of these shootouts. It definitely seemed to be the session to watch if you wanted any bearing on how the race would turn out, because it was so difficult to overtake. How is it from the driver's perspective then, when you come to a track where it is relatively tough to get your way through? Do you kind of like that situation? Do you want to, be able to get those fast qualifying times in, then run away at the front of the field, or do you want to actually be able to get stuck in and get the overtakes done?
A good question. I think for me personally, I think I maybe prefer the tracks like Zandvoort, where it's the overtaking is a bit more difficult, and that's simply due to the fact that I'm not that good of a racer. Maybe I'm lacking a bit of experience in these esports. I noticed it in my first race, Heat 2, when I had a very good start, but then I just lost position after position. And yeah, so for me personally, I mean, obviously this turned out very well for me. So yeah, but we'll see in the future what my preference is going to be.
Well, it seems like you're kind of learning on the job, Leonard, to be honest. And you managed to get your best lap time in that session. Again, not trying to take anything away from you. Like, this is the best of the best on RaceRoom. Where is your ceiling? How far can you go?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's we're gonna have to see in the season, right? I don't expect a whole lot from it, especially since in the first phase I still have my bachelor thesis that I'm currently finishing. But yeah, from the second race, I think it's full focus on RaceRoom, and I'll have to see the grid again, but maybe consistent top 20 finishes or something. It's just really my biggest weakness. I think is still the race. So, but also the qualifying. So I see lots of work to do in both of these areas. As part, it's just really difficult to put these laps together in only the 10 minutes.
You've done the hard bit, mate. You've managed to get yourself a ticket to the DTM eSports Pro Series 2024. Congratulations. We'll see you in a month's time.
Thank you, guys.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have just spoken to Leonard, who managed to get a P1 in our last chance qualifier. That's 32 drivers, Connery. We've got our grid. The shootouts have been, I guess, around maybe the more technical circuits that we have on the our grid. How excited are you now for the 6 rounds ahead?
Oh, we just got your audio back in just the right time for the question. I have, yeah, we dropped out a little bit there, unfortunately, but I got
really?
the gist of it. But yeah, I am incredibly optimistic about the coming season because, again, we have returning champions. We have Moritz Lohner, Kevin Siggy, etc., etc. We have a lot of fresh names coming in to the season as well to see how well they're going to do. You know, after a year or so's worth of development doing the other parts of esports here on RaceRoom and elsewhere. So it's going to be a very intriguing season for that reason. It's kind of a little bit old guard versus new guard as well, which is always fun to see. But of course, we have those two titans of Lohner and Siggy really taking big lumps out of each other. Hopefully not physically, but metaphorically in the battles.
Well, let's have a look at the calendar then for the season one last time, so you guys know exactly what we're going to be looking for over the course of this championship. So we head to round 1 at the Norisring. Nürburgring then will be our second round. So that's the 8th of March where we'll next be live. The 15th of March then for the Nürburgring. Lausitzring will be the 22nd of March. Then we head into April with an April triple header. The 5th of April, the 12th of April, and the 19th of April at the Sachsenring, Red Bull Ring, Hockenheimring. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the shootout done and dusted for the DTM eSports 2024. I found our 32 drivers. Well, we're going to have a nice little break now for about a month, but we'll be back in March where we have the main champion.